Okay. Sweet. I think we're all geared up. What's up, guys? What's going on, dudes? The frick is happening? Holy cow. It's Halla freaking Ween. We're popping off. Happy Halloween to ya. Bread moth. Rahorakati. I still can't pronounce that right. I don't know how. You're gonna have to sound it out for me, but either way, thanks for being here, guys. Happy All Hallows Eve. Mischief Night. The night where the veil is most thinnest. Where the veil has been dieting all year. This is honestly bikini weather for the veil. And now it's at its thinnest point. Time for us to harvest some spooky stories. Breadmoth, you've ditched the stream to join mine. Sounds good, man. Honestly, this one's way more chill. Steven's just gonna complain the whole time about nothing and do nothing. But here, I do something. I get it done, baby. I get it read. I read stories. I'm about to tell you these stories. But you won't be bored. Well, you might snoreed. Won't you fall asleep with chloroform? Just kidding. Slapped Ham stream. Yeah, I always hear about Slapped Ham. I don't think I've ever watched any of their videos before. What's Slap Ham about? No super chats for him because chat's disabled. Oh yeah, that's the unfortunate part about that stuff. I'm still wearing the wig. No, the wig is off. Saving it for when I need it next. Which will be soon, hopefully. Okay. Hey, Munster. My friend, right out the gate with the big 20 doll hair donation. Sukari, you're gonna snatch my wig, yeah. Shoot, thank you, Munster. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Laura says, Slapped Ham rocks. Lots of creepy videos. That's cool. Yeah, I see him in like a group chat that I'm in with some different spooky boys, and I've never really gotten a chance to check out the stuff. Weston, Klaus, we get the MF and ghosts off this MF and plane. Heck yeah. Do your best though, because once they're there, it's hard to get rid of them. And the night is thin with the veil. The ghosts are coming through. Boysness. Am I your dad? That's not for me to decide. We'll have to consult the all-and-mighty DNA test. You'll have to swab my mouth. Am I a danger boy? I'm kind of more of an E-boy myself. Gothic, you're sorting through your son's candy. You totally won't be taking any. I would do that, but I don't want to be the one to test for razor blades. I'll just leave that to my future kids. I also thought it'd be funny if you just people leave bowls of candy out front of their house. It'd be funny just leave a bowl of razor blades. Take one, please. I did see a funny meme earlier where it was just like a bowl of cigarettes, and it's like, 1 cig per kid. Please don't take the lighter. Jensen's here. What's up? Nat's here. Whole crew. As we are ascending in viewers, click that like button. Share it with your friends and family. Tell them, dude, this guy's reading ghost stories. What is he, a freaking storyteller? Ghost? Also, that was really, really cool. That Watch Mojo, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. I'm sure a lot of you that follow me on social media probably have. But on Watch Mojo, they did a top 10 list of the best YouTube horror storytellers. And yeah, it was cool because I was number 5 on the list, on their list, and that really, really caught me off guard. I was just like, okay, Watch Mojo, gracias, thank you. So Watch Mojo's like videos are kind of like hit or miss for as whether or not they get a lot of views or anything like that. Like it's sitting at 50K, which is, hey, potentially 50K people that have not heard of my channel otherwise or heard of our community. So any way to spread the love on YouTube is fine by me. So I had no idea we were even on their radar, to be honest, but it was pretty dope. Buns with the 2 says, Watch Mojo, bro. Yeah, I know. It's cray. KFC Man, welcome back with the $1. Thank you, KFC Man. And Gothic with the 2 Canadian maple syrups. Congrats on Watch Mojo. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Who else was on that list? I know Corpse Husband was number 9, and then Mr. Nightmare was not number 9, but number 2, and Mr. Nightmare was number 1, which I think is very fair because they were like first to the party. I think number 3 was B Busta. Lazy Masquerade was surprisingly number 10, but I almost feel like they started him off in the video because to catch people's attention, because his, he kind of was obviously one of the major OGs in that subgenre, so it kind of pulls people in. Or no, they started number 10 with Mr. Creepypasta and Creeps McPasta. Maybe I'm wrong. Still interesting. It was a great list. I was very honored to be, included with everybody there. It's just very, very cool. Zuzu was here with the 5 says, you're the best storyteller. Thank you. You guys can make your own lists and tell me who's your top 3. KFC Man with the $1 buckarone. Thank you. Joel wants Corpse to be number 9. Hey, I didn't make the list. But if I did, we would all be number 1 in my heart. Yeah, apparently Creeps McPasta and Mr. Creepypasta are on tour right now, doing some live shows. I'm not exactly sure what exactly, but I think it's in the California area, which is really cool. Book Girl, how are you? Do you need to rant? I mean, I can rant about anything probably for at least a little bit till my mind turns to mush. But I'm doing okay for personal rants currently. I feel very content with things. Almost too content. Like I'm just waiting for the big one. The big bad. The big comet to come. They're with Muji. Okay, that's sweet. Mr. Creeps McPasta and Mr. Creepypasta are with Muji doing some tours. That's really awesome. I mean, I guess Creeps McPasta, unless he lives here in the States, like probably had to travel to do that. Sabrina Hale with the 2 says, I recommend you to everyone to meet. Thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate that. Yeah, word of mouth is the best advertising you can really get. So if the channel has provided you with some fashion of entertainment or value, I would very much appreciate you guys telling Grandma at least, and then everybody else, because Grandma gonna tell everybody. She's listening to this creepy pasta person. Oh, what the frick. And that creepy pasta man is lit, let me tell you what. Braden Roy with a 5 Canadian maple syrup doll hairs says, hey, can you do me a favor and put me to sleep with your silky smooth voice or your chloroform, your choice. I'll have to see what does the trick first. If I can't get you with the voice here in an hour, I'm whipping out the rag. Voiceness, I notice you. I see all my children. All my children. Jules, you're gonna hit the shower. Yeah, you got this speed shower. You got 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Ready, go. Lila, you're playing peekaboo with your cat. Hey, what else is there to do in life, honestly? Pradeep, I just cleaned my room today. Pradeep's enjoying the spoils of that. Sleeping on a nicely, freshly made mattress in his corner. Holding it down. We're actually doing a clean of the whole house, so can I do that grandpa voice the time? Oh, do the grandpa voice. Oh, the whole time. Thank you all for being here. I left a bowl of razor blades out front if you're hungry. I mean candy. Untangling the straps on the messenger bags while my cat's hanging out somewhere around here. Oh man, he's a sneaky one. If I ever end up buying my own place myself at some point down the road, I think it would be cool to have a bunch of neat areas for the cat to wander through and sleep and hide. I remember seeing this one dude. Granted, I think he was autistic or something like that. Not that that's bad, but more in the sense that like his level of autism led him to sort of obsess over the sort of activity level and enjoyment of his cat, to the point where he had built these really elaborate mazes along the ceiling corners of his house and stuff. And I'm like, man, that sounds really cool, but also probably not worth my time. Lils with the 5 says, yay stream. Yeah, I know, we're back at it. Sorry, it's been a while, guys. Just been busy with other stuff, and I had kind of sent in a little bit of a Watch Mojo was great, super nice people, because they answered my DMs on Twitter and were really nice about stuff, and I asked about maybe applying for anytime they might need like a voiceover person, so I can do the Watch Mojo voice. Whoa, everything's freaking, guys. The new Wolverine is here, and guess what? We've got a top 10 about his favorite toes. His top 10 favorite toes on his feet. Number 10, the big one on the right side. Number 9, the middle one on the right side. Number 8, the pinky toe. Right side again. Number 7, the one that has the claws coming out of it. That'd be funny if Wolverine had claws coming out of his feet. And it's just really annoying. He gets new shoes and he just busts out of them. He's like, God damn it. We have a giant bucket of Halloween candy and no trick-or-treaters. It's got Reese's Cups, Crunch Bars, Butterfingers, Kit Kats, Twizzlers, 100 Grands, and Vamp Fangs with candy blood. Damn, you went all out, Asherella. If I was 2 years younger and still able to trick-or-treat, I'd be at your house. Maybe I'll just show up there in the middle of the night and rob you of your candy. Oh yeah, Bread Month. I remember one time in football, it was like sophomore year of high school. Going back, I could throw a football over a mountain a mile long. And I remember we were all getting hyphy before a varsity game or whatever, and being that I was younger, it was just like exciting to be at the game. I wasn't starting or anything like that, and like I just remember some piece of shit with fucking metal cleats literally, like, as we were jumping around, stepped right on my toe, and it actually felt like it crunched, you know, my little baby toe. Wolverine's, you know, number 7 most favorite toe, mine as well, and it literally got crunched, and I remember just like I could barely walk like along the sidelines, or even definitely not run or anything like that, because I'm fairly certain it was broken, and it just took so long before it like healed. It was so annoying. So that was a pleasurable experience. I remember one time when I was younger, like middle school, I had my finger in the door, and my mom fucking closed the door like right on my finger, and I was just like, and I just kind of in shock. I was like, Mom, the door's on my finger. And she's like, oh my God. And it like, I don't remember what happened. It didn't snap or anything like that, but it just like got caught in there. I'm surprised it didn't. There was like just enough room that like, I can only imagine if it was even tighter, it may have like just cut it off, but it just like essentially like crushed it, but not really. I don't know. It was fine later, but it was obviously very black and blue, and I had my fingernail was all, had to like slowly work out the blood blister in there. And then I remember also one time in football, I didn't have a lot of injuries or anything like that, but like just was playing catch with somebody, and I went to catch it, and if it like hit my left index finger, and my left index finger like just snapped backwards. And then I went to my coach. I was like, hey, I think I broke my finger. He's like, whoa, yeah, you did. And then I think he said that it was just only caught up on, you know, it was just the joint was snapped. So he just like snapped it back into place. But holy shit, that thing swelled up really, really bad. Would I rather lose a thumb or a toe? Oh man, probably a toe. Just cause of the aesthetic of it, you know what I mean? Like, and then a thumb, I mean, you pretty much can't like grab anything anymore, because you kind of need your thumb for grabbing. Even though I know you need toes for balance, but I think you could fare a lot better without a toe than a thumb. Ariana, good for you to be in our company as well. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everyone being here. We've got another minute here before we kick into some of these spookadookie stories. These spookies are gonna be dookie. Just kidding. Do you guys watch ASMR at all? And if you do, who are your favorite ASMRists? Also, I've been trying to brainstorm some ideas for friends who want to break into YouTube. Now, I think a lot of people want to, you know, go down the reading scary stories thing, and I think that's a great thing to do. I think anything you do that is positive movement forward is a good decision, but I was thinking, what are some unique ideas that maybe people haven't really touched on, that channels could potentially kind of tap into that other people may have not otherwise done, or maybe even like some more specific niches, you know? Because I know a lot of people, when I talk to them, like maybe specifically girls, like they're like, oh, if I make one, I would make an ASMR channel, because it's like, you know, easy to produce the content, and if you're attractive, you know, easy, GG easy, am I right? You know, you just kind of show up. Hey, Robin's here, what up, my good sir? Also, that was really cool about Watch Mojo, is that one of the specific things they said about my channel was my awesome thumbnails and artwork, and honestly, all of the most recent, and going back quite a few months now, artwork and thumbnails has to do with our good friend here, Robin Mikalsen from Norway, and his amazing skills in Photoshop and four-dimensional art. Lila, you want me to wait 5 minutes to read? You gotta make some nachos and pee. Are you gonna pee in the nachos? Like, what the hell? What's going on there? Link to the Watch Mojo video referencing Joel. Oh yeah, so I'm sure someone can link you that in the chat for show. Maybe Gothic can grab that, but if you were to go to Watch Mojo's channel, it's probably about like 10 videos back, since they post a lot of content that has a picture of Creeps McPasta on the front of it. And it's funny because it used to, like when it first came out, it had the picture of Corpse Husband's avatar, but then they changed it, so I don't know if there was like some copyright issues with, or who knows what it is. Oh, you know what Stephanie George, I totally missed your donation with the $10. Thank you, Stephanie. Says, how are you doing today? Did I already answer that? I'm not sure, but I am doing great. I feel really good. I'm actually really stoked to be able to do the stream on, I was going to say Thanksgiving, but it's actually Halloween. I forgot. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? But this is my day. It's pretty much Halloween on this channel all day, every day of the year. But this is where I am at my most powerful. Can I get a link to your Discord? Yeah, we can link that for you. But everything that you might be looking for is probably linked down below in the description box, or, you know, on most videos. I do sometimes wonder if, like, even though you put, like, for a Discord link to never expire, if it sometimes just does anyways, you know, because some people seem to struggle to join it or whatever. Castle Reviews with the 10 says, what's the next movie you're looking forward to watching in theaters? Oh, well, somebody told me Parasite was really good. Let's see. Parasite movie. Yeah, I'm just going to read the, at least the kind of plot. In a 2019 South Korean dark comedy thriller, film director Bong Joon-ho. Oh, by Bong Joon-ho. The film stars Song Kang-ho, Lee Sun-kyun, Cho Yeo-yong, Choi Woo-shik, and Park So-dam, and follows a young man from a poor family who begins to tutor a rich family's daughter and slowly starts to infiltrate their personal lives. Parasite had its world premiere at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival on the 21st of May 2019, where it won the Palme d'Or, becoming the first Korean film to receive the award and the first film to win the unanimous vote since 2013's Blue is the Warmest Color. It was selected as the South Korean entry for Best International Feature Film at the 92nd Academy Awards. The film received critical acclaim and has grossed over 150 million worldwide. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know why, like, they advertise it as like a horror movie, but you never know. It seems as if it's a bit of some insanity involved in there, but I'd like to check it out. Yeah, I couldn't pronounce anything. Bong Joon-ho. Suk A Ho. Suk A Fook. Alright, guys, we're going to kick this off. I'm going to switch over to Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse, the fantastic, prolific, dark ambient artist, to set the mood. I want to thank RGB Chill Music for the lo-fi Halloween mix. Tay me away with the 20 buckaroonie, says, I stan. Thank you, Tay me away. Thank you for standing. Standing with I, standing with me, standing with all of us. We stan you as well. It took me so long to figure out what stan meant. It was as if though I just could not wrap my boomer brain around it. ASMR equals whispers. Yeah, what a strange phenomena ASMR has become. I am kind of jealous. Not necessarily jealous. I mean, like, I'm very thankful for what I have here, but I see channels like Jibby and Darling ASMR, and I'm like, man, must be nice to be hot as farts, and all you have to do is whisper into the microphone. Because they kind of, their channels definitely hit quite a bit of a market. You have the ASMR aspects, but you also have all the creeps that that you bring over who literally are just fall in love with your face, which, no, nothing to be ashamed there about. But maybe I should start showing my face so I can get some more creeps. I need creeps, guys. Find me the creeps. They need to come and subscribe to the channel for my face. But I don't think I've got the dimples for it, to be honest with you. I might just have to stick to my voice. My voice. Take me away with another 20 Bono says, it took me a while too, but it's all good. Thank you. Oh, yeah, with the stand. I know, now I want to say it. It's funny, it's like, I always joke about, like, I always talk shit on different, like, slang sayings and stuff, but then after I hear it, like, it's like a vine. You hear it like or, whatever thing that you hear 100 billion times, it eventually becomes, like, part of your vernacular. Like, yo, I stand that. Yeah, I stand that. Dude, that's lit. Dude, that's so litty titty. My titties are littied. Kevin Rodriguez with the $2 says, say Elver Galarga, please and thank you. Elver Galarga. That's a pretty sweet name. I've never heard such a name in my life. Is that someone from the future? Like a Elon Musk type character? I should show my face. You can see my face on the Discord. It's plastered all over it. Just ask somebody and they'll show you. What would I do if I saw a ghost? I would feel afraid and I would say, God, please help me. It's a ghost. Then I would poop my pants. I do always kind of like think like I'm just like having read all these stories. I'm always just kind of like anticipating like one day I walk out and just like see one there, But I I don't know. It's I don't think anything bad has happened in my house to attract that kind of negative energy, and I don't know if like prayer and that kind of stuff like pushes it away. I don't really know the ins and outs of the spiritual world. I mean, you kind of learn little tidbits and stuff like that in these stories, but who knows? Krizia's right. I do look like a dude, like almost too dude-ish. I need to like put on more like makeup and lipstick, and then maybe I could do ASMR. Lipstick application on a dude. Natalia says Joel Dirt. Yeah, with my mullet. I got a pretty good look going for Halloween if I do go out for Halloween, so I'm ready. And you can get a sneak peek of that on the Discord. Brandon Anderson with the 2 buckaroni says 1 like equal 1 creep. Now for your number. Yeah, for every like attracts that many more creepers, so you guys gotta like the stream so we get more creepers in here. Dagger Warren with the 2 says, who's your top 10 narrators? Oh man, that's a tough question. I can tell you a few that I really like. Like I really like listening to Lazy Masquerade. There's a certain mystery to just the sort of audio quality of it. Like the audio quality is great, but there's something about like it almost sounds as if though he's reading to you inside of like maybe inside of a sewer or an alleyway or inside of like a very open room or a theater or something like that, but you don't see him. He's like in your head. It's just like there's something about the way that the sound travels, and that sounds strange, but that it's the general presence of the voice feels as if though it's like spatially somewhere else with you. I don't know. It sounds very strange. And I just like British accents. And I really like Mr. X Dreams. I really like Dr. Creepin, Mr. Scarecrow. Those are some people I worked with. Mr. Davis. There's a lot of good ones out there, honestly. I love King Spooks. If you guys have heard King Spooks, there's just a certain level of gravel to his voice that just makes it sound really immersive, especially his creepypastas he does. KFC Man with the $1 again. Thank you, KFC Man. Thanks for always being here. And Chris Oliver with the 20 Boneronos says, love all your narrations, especially paranormal stuff. Have a few drinks on me. Thank you, Chris. Oh yeah, I still need to do a drinking stream, but I also don't want to be turned deaded by you guys. Eva Loney with the $2 says, happy Halloweener. Happy Halloweener. Happy big floppy Halloweener. Exposed in public. Wiener. Do you have a podcast I would recommend? I don't think so. I just listen to a lot of conspiracy stuff, politics stuff, just weird things, just to fall asleep to. But also like you're kind of like subconsciously picking up information at the same time, but you don't have to like pay attention that hard. But yeah, I don't really have anything like offhand to recommend. That'd be something maybe I could discuss more elsewhere. I feel like, I feel like I could think about it a lot easier. Have I met any of the other scary story readers? Funnily enough, well, this was not IRL, but I remember I was playing Overwatch and Darkness Prevails was in one of my games, and I was like, Darkness Prevails? And he's like, let's read. And it's like, do you narrate stories? Like, yeah, you do too. And I was like, yeah. And then literally like us playing Overwatch together randomly got us to do some collaborations and that kind of thing. Do I listen to Coast to Coast AM? I do, yeah. They are George Norrie and the gang. R.I.P. Is George Norrie dead? I don't even know. I think. Oh no, that's Art Bell I'm thinking of. Yeah, George Norrie's still alive. Art Bell is the one that passed away. Rip. Ripperoni. Alright, let me switch this over to the streaming tab. I've been jogging on and on for a little while here. Alright. Also exciting news after these paranormal stories. Monday's video will be stories about pets that are scary. So look forward to that and all your doggos and kiddos. Oh yeah, where's Jamie? Good question. Where is she? Thank you guys for your patience. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stories here. And this first one's called Spooky Camp Story That No One Will Repeat. Except me at this exact moment. Also, I have to do 10 seconds of silence for our fallen comrades. But also just to get background noise so I can remove it later. So, count down with me in your heads. We'll start from 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for your patience for 10 seconds. Inga Moonchild with the 5 says, Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween, Inga. Thank you. And Eric Kramer with the 5 says, Hey, let's read. I literally listened to every one of your videos, and out of all the ones out there, you have the nicest voices along with DP. Old DP. Darkness prevails. Double prevailation. Thank you, guys, for the donuts. And take me away with another $20. Says $60. Rip. What do you think of Corp Hudson? Corpse is great. Yeah, Corpse is awesome. He's been, he was right up there pumping out true scary stories early on with Mr. Nightmare and the whole gang. He was, he got popular off the deep web stuff as well, which not many people really touch on anymore. Really not a whole lot of stories out there, I feel like, to actually constitute deep web stories, but other than losing all your personal information or getting doxxed or something like that. But most of that, I guess, would be creepypastas at this point. But yeah, I see Corpse post a little bit here and there on his social media. It shows some of his beats and his rapping, which I think he should just release it, to be honest, because I think it would do well. I mean, maybe not necessarily on his channel, but it certainly has a very unique type of rap to it. It's sort of like dark boy rap. And I think it would do well, honestly, if he put it out there. Eva Loney with a 2 says top Halloween movies. Oh, like specifically about Halloween or just horror movies? Because I recently, well, first off, Jake Spanbauer with the 2 says, I listen to your YouTube videos while I'm at work. Thank you, Jake. Dude, spread it around the office. Let them know that insurance covers my videos, and if you can't listen to them, it's like a medical need. It's like having a emotional support dog with you at all times, but you know, a YouTube video. We could pass that through some sort of court system. I think it could work. But I watched this one scene from a movie recently called Zodiac. I remember watching it back in probably 2007, and it freaked me out then. And I watched it now, and it still freaked me out. But basically, not to spoil it, it's the opening scene of the movie, and it just encompasses a large sense of loss of control and very, very violent. And if you're looking to be freaked out, look that up on YouTube whenever you get a chance. Zodiac opening scene. It's pretty fudged up, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, not being able to listen to Let's Read is unconstitutional. The founders of this country really could not sleep at night as they waited for the redcoats to arrive. The only way they made it through the night peacefully without constant, utter fear of being ambushed by the Brits and having all their tea dumped in the water is by listening to my YouTube videos from the future. Have I seen Hereditary? I have. Very, very emotionally heavy scenes in that as well. Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer, so he will be charged for his crimes at some point here. We'll have to wait. From 1993 to 1999, what the hell? From 1993 to 1998, every summer I attended a Christian youth camp for girls. Camp lasted 4 days, 3 nights. There were about 200 girls at the camp, and it was about 1.5 to 2 hour drive away from our homes. Some of the camping areas were tent only, others had A-frames, and at least one of the camping areas had longhouses. The campground is called Ensign Ranch. Oh shit. Pronunciation, sweet dude. Ensign Ranch and Catitas County. Oh, fuck. I don't want to pronounce these wrong, like, right out the gate. Natalia with the 5 says, starting petition on Discord for a twerk vid from you to bring all the creeps to the yard. Oh, yeah, they're out there. You just gotta check my Let's Breed channel on Pornhub.
Ensign.
Ensign. A flag or standard, especially a military or naval one, indicating nationality. A commissioned officer of the lowest rank in the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard, ranking above chief warrant officer and below lieutenant. Ensign. Okay. Campground is called Ensign Ranch. I'll just skip over the Washington part because I can't pronounce it. If someone knows how to like enunciate that, let me know. Take me away with another big dono at 10 buckaroonies. Says Stan BTS. Wait, what's BTS? I forget. BTS, not BTW. Oh, right. The K-pop group, the Vampire Ventriloquist Dolls, is what I like to refer to them as. because they're so pale and they look like vampires. And they also kind of remind me of like little ventriloquist dolls. Oh, that would be sick if there was like, oh, dude, that's what they should do. Start a K-pop band, but it's like all puppets, you know, like wow, 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 wow. That would be cool. If anybody's out there looking for a new act, and bringing K-pop, you want to transition K-pop here into the Americas on the more mainstream. The best way to do it is probably with puppets. It's just, and you don't have to worry about like, you know, people stalking the puppets or the puppets getting older and like having even an individual wrinkle on their face. Like I know they do fear that quite a bit in Korea, but you know, there's a solution. Modern solutions require modern solutions. Take Me Away with the Five says they're a Korean boy group. Yeah. When do they become a Korean man group? Oh, yeah, that's right. Heavy metal groups are actually just boy bands grown up. I remember hearing that one time.
Ensign.
Okay. The campground is called Ensign Ranch. You can look online to see pictures of what these different camping areas look like. It's a really safe campground, and we had a lot of fun every year. In the evenings, we would tell spooky stories. CPT Berto with the 5 says, Happy Halloween, man. Happy Halloween. Yeah, did anybody do anything earlier? Or are they doing stuff in a little while? Or did anybody go take someone trick-or-treating or go trick-or-treating? Because honestly, I think it's nonsense that me as a 29-year-old boy can't go door to door to get candy from people's houses in my cool denim mullet costume. I think it's outrageous, and I'm extraordinarily offended. I hope to bring this before a judiciary somewhere and alert them that I identify as a child and that I deserve candy from people's homes. Okay? All right? And honestly, I don't even care if it's Halloween. If I come to your house, knock on your door, and say trick or treat, you better hand over something. All right? Just hand it over. Take Me Away with the 5, says Michael Myers, is quaking. He better be. In the evenings, we would tell spooky stories. Pretty typical stuff for youth camps. On the last night of camp in 1996, I was 15 at the time, there were several of us girls in the top level of our lawn. Sorry, I need to reapply lube to my lips because I'm getting tongue-tied and twisted. Guys, be thankful I don't have a face cam, because the manner in which I, apply lube to my lips is it kind of like just drips from the ceiling directly onto my like forehead and like down to my lips, and then I just kind of rub it around, and my whole face is just kind of smeared in Vaseline. So, not a pretty sight. Definitely not my most proudest techniques for achieving top 10 narrator status on Watch Mojo, but it was one of the stipulations, and those are the lengths I'm willing to go to. On the last night of camp in 1996, I was 15 at the time, there were several of us girls in the top level of our longhouse. It was past bedtime, so we were quietly telling scary stories. I had told a couple, one with the help of a friend, I'll call her Lily. I don't remember the specific stories from that night, just typical, and the hook was hanging from the car door stuff. After a couple of hours of spooky stories, someone else was talking, and I was getting really tired and could hardly keep my eyes open. Then some of the girls asked me to tell one more story. So I start telling a story, making it up as I go, just typical, on a dark night in the woods not far from here type of beginning. Next thing I know, I wake up, lying flat on my back. As I'm waking, I realize I'm still talking, but once I become aware of my own talking, I couldn't remember what I was saying or trying to say. I was fully awake then. I finished by lamely saying something like, "They all died, the end." I looked around me at the girls, who were all staring wide-eyed at me. A couple of the girls were quietly crying, mouths open in horror with tears streaming down their faces. My friend Lily whispered, "That was the creepiest thing I've ever heard." The girls that weren't crying nodded in agreement. I said I was tired and we should all go to bed. As all of the other girls moved away to their sleeping bags, I asked Lily and another girl, I'll call her Sarah, what I had said. I admitted to them that I had fallen asleep and couldn't remember anything. Lily and Sarah exchanged glances, and Lily paused before saying, "That just makes it worse." Sarah nodded in agreement and said she didn't want to retell it because it was that creepy. Now, at this point, if it had been just Lily and one or two of the other girls that were in that group, I would have thought they had realized I was asleep and were just messing with me. But Sarah was, and still is, a very serious person who doesn't have much of a sense of humor, doesn't like pranks, even innocent ones, and was almost honest to a fault. So, I went to sleep feeling unnerved but exhausted. A few hours later, I was being shaken awoke by one of the adult camp leaders. She told me to gather my things and follow her. I sleepily and awkwardly carried my stuff down the ladder, then followed her outside. 2 other camp leaders were standing next to a tent. They told me to put my items inside and then come talk to them. Inside the tent were 2 of the younger girls, 12 or 13, that had been listening to the scary stories and who had been crying when I woke up. They wouldn't look at me, just laid there sobbing. When I went back outside to talk to the leaders, they said Lily had showed up at their tent with the 2 sobbing girls. The girls were crying and kept saying they wanted their parents to come get them. Lily explained about the scary stories and about mine being the one that made them cry. The leaders asked them what I had said. I admitted I had fallen asleep and honestly didn't know. The leader said Lily refused to tell them what I said, and the 2 girls just sobbed harder the more they tried to talk to them. They explained to the girls that they weren't going to call and wake their parents at 3 a.m. and have them drive over an hour just because of spooky stories. Plus, we were all going home the next day. As punishment for scaring the girls, the leaders made me sleep in the tent with them while the leaders went to sleep in the longhouse. The girls cried for a bit, and then we all fell asleep. They were both gone from the tent when I awoke in the morning. To this day, I have no idea what creepy story I told. No one that was there has ever been willing to tell me any of the details. Several years afterward, Lily told me that she would randomly have nightmares because of it. The only details I ever had answered were my voice sounded the same as usual. My eyes remained closed for the majority of the story, which creeped them out more. And the story was coherent and made sense up until the end when I lamely finished speaking. Again, if it had only been Lily and a few of the other less serious girls, I would know that they were just messing with me. But Sarah and most of the girls that were there, including the one that cried most of the night, even being a part of a prank on me, just fuck. Oh, I had that going there for so long, and I fucked it up. Sorry. Sorry, mommy. Sorry, everyone. James Robbers with the 2 says 420 was a hoax. I'll 420 no-scope you, bro. Let's go. Just kidding. It was a hoax, though. Don't believe them when they tell you. C-New with the $2 says, hope you had a great Halloween. I did. Today was a good day. Pretty much just a lot of cleaning, hanging out. Didn't go to the gym. Got a big sort of semi-workout competition tomorrow, just for some bullshit CrossFit stuff. But so I just figured I'd take a rest day for that and get some cleaning done. But cleaning your house and having it nice and spick and span feels great. because then you just feel like you can move around more freely and just get the mental. There's sort of a correlation between that and the mental clutter in your mind as well, which feels quite good, quite good. Vixa with a 5 says, thank you for making these videos. I love how chill your streams are. I got into an accident earlier this evening. I really needed the distraction. Oh my gosh, Vixa, I'm so sorry. Honestly, I hope that you're okay, but I understand that even if physically is okay, dealing with anything like a car accident is just so ridiculously tough sometimes. So I'm very sorry. I'm glad we can get you away from that for a bit here. Yeah, let me pump out the end of this story real quick. But Sarah and most of the other girls that were there, including the one who cried most of the night, even being a part of a prank on me just doesn't seem probable. Okay, yeah. But Sarah and most of the other girls that were there, including the one that cried most of the night, being part of a prank on me just doesn't seem probable. It's interesting because that kind of story is interesting to me because CrossFit my toes up your asses. I just like, yeah, when people like, you know, because that's like an H.P. Lovecraft technique where he says, like, I saw something so terrifying I dare not repeat it. It was beyond my eyes' comprehensions, incomprehensible to articulate through English tongue. You know, where it's like you leave it up to the listener or reader's interpretation, which I think is a good way to go about things because sometimes the scariest things exist within our own mind. James Roberts with the tuba says, are you my dad? You sound like him. Yeah, where are you? We were trick-or-treating earlier and you just disappeared. My child, return home. Okay, this next one is called I Worked on a Haunted Ship. I took a haunted shit. There was all these grumblings and bumblings that came out of my butt. What the heck? Oh no, Melissa has a bellyache. This will not stand. Susie, you have only missed the first story. We've got 7 more to go, so don't you worry your little bottom. Yeah. All right. This happened 15 years ago when I was 19. At the time, I worked on cargo vessels, and this was my 3rd trip to sea. The ship was around 30 years old when I was on board, which doesn't sound old, but it's pretty old for a ship. The vessel had been refitted a few times by the time I was on board. I won't say the name of the ship as I will be naming people by position, so it would potentially lead to people being identified. For anyone who works in a similar job, you will know what it's like being the young, relatively new guy on an all-male team with people who've lived and worked together for months or even years. In essence, you feel like an outsider and have to prove your worth, and also you can expect to have a load of practical jokes played on you. So you can imagine when I joined this ship and the guys are all talking about a ghost on board. I was like, yeah, whatever. They asked me if I believed in ghosts, and I said no, which was actually a lie, as I had experienced things before, which I posted about previously. Anyway, they just said something like, you will soon, and I just laughed it off. I think I'd been on board for about a week when I first heard a loud knock at the cabin door. I had my own cabin, but it was a small one in the middle of the accommodation with no porthole. I opened the door, and there was no one there. I definitely thought I was getting pranked. This started happening regularly, and it would be at all sorts of times, often waking me while I was sleeping with 3 loud knocks. Every time I tried to jump up and open the door as quickly as possible to catch the person, but I never saw anyone or even heard them running away. Now my cabin was roughly in the middle of a corridor, I'd say around 20 meters long, so you'd have to run 10 meters to get around a corner. A few times I felt like I'd opened the door quick enough that I should have seen them. This got me thinking maybe it was someone in the neighboring cabin. I asked who was in the cabins next to mine. There was an old guy in one cabin who was in his 60s, and I had never seen him move fast enough. The others were empty. This is quite common on older ships, as they used to get built to house more crew, but ships sail with less and less crew these days. The knocking continued until one day I was at my wardrobe hanging my shirt up literally next to the cabin door when it knocked. I opened it so fast I should have been face to face with them. The corridor was empty. That's when I realized there was something else going on. After that, I started taking more notice of what other people were saying, and I also started paying attention to the oppressive feeling on board. I had been on 2 ships previously, and I sailed on 4 more after this one, and none had an atmosphere like that. Things got worse after that. One of my jobs at night would be making rounds of the ship to check the cargo is secure and there are no problems. You take a radio with you so you can radio the bridge if you need to. The radio would sometimes loudly blast static for no reason, and if I radioed the officer on the bridge to ask if they said something, they would come back clear and say, nope, and there was no static for them. This happened with multiple radios, so it wasn't a dud. One day on my rounds, I was in the laundry at 2 a.m. making checks and an alarm sounded. I spun around to see the watertight door closing behind me. I radioed the bridge and asked if they are closing it, which would be unusual as they only get operated in tests and emergencies. The second mate said no, and on his console it's showing open. The door closed all the way, and the second mate radios to tell me to try to manually override as he can't do it from the bridge as it still says open. I used the lever to override and open the door. I radioed to tell the mate, and he says he'll get it looked at by the engineers. I carry on with my rounds, and as I approach the next door, the alarm sounds and it starts closing. I radio the mate, and he says he's not doing anything and I'll have to override again. This time I get it open, and as soon as it's fully open, it starts to close again. I look around, and the other door is also now closing. At this point, I'm getting shut into the laundry. I get a feeling of impending doom. That's when the lights begin to flicker and static blasts over the radio. I jump through the closing door. Really bad idea because they can crush you, and got out of there. Now, theoretically, that could be a coincidence of failing systems or someone playing tricks. The doors can be controlled from the bridge, but it's just not something someone would do as a prank since it could hurt you severely. Also, when the doors started closing, no one would have known I was there. It was just me and the mate and an engineer awake at that time, and there were no... Squeakity squeak. Oh, Kanye West is here. Hey, I like your new album. It was just me and the mate and an engineer. Oh. Spooky. Spooky, spooky, spooky. I like this story. I think I might actually start the video with this story instead of the previous one. Just because it's, I feel like, more kind of tense and accessible. And it's a little bit longer. Tiny Green Turtles, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Krizia, you want some candy? Honestly, I feel like after this I might legit go to Walmart and get a bunch of candy to shove down my gullet. James Roberts with the 2 says the houses are turning off the lights. I'm scared. Oh, the houses? Like the ones surrounding you? Oh, because it's probably trick-or-treating is over, maybe? Time to get spooked. The Shining Ones with the 5 says still best YouTube channel around. You damn right. Damn straight, bruh. Best YouTuber on the mother frickin' site. Let's go. Let's go. Let's read some stories, baby. Yeah. You had like 3 kids come, got loads to share. All right, I'll take some. Sounds like I was brewing a potion. I am. Some spooky potion. Joel's juice, as they say. It was just me and the mate and an engineer awake at that time, and there were no cameras. They did a full watertight door test the next day and found no faults. I should mention that watertight doors are each controlled by an independent system, so if one fails, they don't all fail, meaning 2 doors experiencing faults together would be unlikely to say the least. After that, I never went into the laundry alone again. One night, I did my late-night rounds as usual and reported back up to the bridge when I finished. When I got there, the second mate was white as a sheet and shaking. He was holding a cup of tea that was sloshing about from how much his hand was shaking. I asked if he was okay, and he could barely speak. Finally, he managed to tell me that he was sat in front of the radar screen 5 minutes earlier when he heard me come back to the bridge. He asked if everything was okay, and I didn't respond. He looked over his shoulder back at me, but instead it was an old guy, pale and wide-eyed, staring down at him from just an arm length away. He literally fell off his chair, and the old guy disappeared in front of his eyes. He said the worst thing was the expression of malice on the face of the old guy. The second mate was weeping as he told me this, and he was a pretty tough guy. The worst experiences was... The worst experiences I ever had as Mike Tyson was the time I got punched in the face by a gorilla. Let me tell you, I should have been able to take that punch, but personally, I don't think I was meant to be fighting that gorilla. Mikko Sosa offset with the 25 kroner. Is it kroner? Is that good night from? Oh yeah, Denmark. Krona. It's from Denmark. It's 3 a.m. Good night, my friend. Thanks for being here. Okay, here we go. The worst experience. What did I dress up as? So, have you guys ever seen that guy's like, you just gotta send it? Oh yeah, bud. You know what I'm talking about? You should look it up. Like, just type into YouTube, send it guy video or something of that nature. And it's a guy, it's like a Canadian dude, who I presume to be Canadian, driving a snowmobile and just hitting jumps and just sending it. And I'm pretty sure that's what made, like, you gotta send it popular and that kind of thing. And my roommate had a denim jacket, and I had some, jeans, and he had a mullet from whenever he did a Dr. Disrespect role play for ASMR channel. And yeah, so I'm gonna shave it so I have a mustache, and it's gonna be lit. Oh Canada, just gotta send it. Oh. Just another good day if you got a decent looking girl next to you with a Bud Light. You can shotgun, You just gotta send it. You think I'm silly, bud? I'm not silly. All right. Wolfman says, remember, eat ass, smoke grass, and sled fast. I don't remember that. Eat ass, smoke grass. Are you able to do a Gollum voice? I can, actually.
Stupid, filthy hobbitses. Fat, stupid, filthy hobbitses. Ah,
What is this?
potatoes. What is potatoes, precious?
Potatoes, cook 'em, mash 'em, put 'em in a stew. Cook 'em, mash 'em, put 'em in a stew. I fucking love Lord of the Rings, man. It's like honestly, I want to say Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite movies of all time. I know people think like the first one's boring, but I think it's magical. I think it's literally magic in my eyes. And if you have children and they're like over the age of 3, or even if they are 3, honestly, if you have any age child, show them Lord of the Rings. And I think The Hobbit would be good for kids too, but The Hobbit compared to Lord of the Rings is dog shit. And the reason I say it is because the story's not quite as interesting, and the CGI is... It's like they regressed in a lot of ways. They didn't do a lot of, like, personal makeup and stuff, which kind of blows. But it was, it's still good, and obviously The Hobbit's a good story. Do Rick from Rick and Morty. Morty. We gotta get out of here, Morty. He like burps and stuff. Rick. Rick. I don't know, Rick. Morty, don't be such a pussy. Get the time machine, Morty. I definitely can't. I feel like I'm not very good at just like doing on the fly. Like I almost have to like practice the phrases to like maintain them. Otherwise I'll lose it if I have to say anything like unique in a voice. Your 7-year-old brother loves Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings. You should honestly. I think one thing that I wish that people would have done to me is if I was into a movie. Walter White, is that? I assume that's from Breaking Bad. I have not watched a lot of Breaking Bad, so I don't think I would be able to do a Ram Ranch. Ram Ranch. 18 naked cowboys in the shower at Ram Ranch. If you guys haven't seen Ram Ranch, I'm not going to show it on stream. I mean, I could play it. I guess who fuck cares, but just to avoid any issues, Ram Ranch emotional piano cover. It's probably one of the funniest videos I've ever seen this year on YouTube, and it's already October, or it's almost November, so that's telling you something. Tyler Mesa. Oh, yeah, because like I would do that voice as Gollum. Tyler Mesa, thank you for the 2 says do Beavis and Butt. Yeah. What is it? Beavis. He just said butthole. How does what does Butthead sound like? He's like, oh, he just said. No, that's too deep. Let's listen to their voice real quick. I actually would like to do Macho Man Randy's. Oh yeah, brother. Oh yeah, brother. So I guess it's Beavis and Butthead voice. Oh yeah. Oh, Mike Judge. Yeah, Mike Judge is a freaking legend. Oh.
I'm hearing my voice going. Seeing these kids going.
I bet they put all the stuff that
Oh my
sucks
God.
on in the morning.
I bet they put all the stuff that sucks on in the morning. Nah, I can't.
Just to like get us to
Just
go
like-
to school. Yeah.
I just love Beavis. He's just like so fucking stupid. Yeah. Friggin' cornholio. I need TV for my bunghole. Hank Hill. God dang it, Bobby. God dang it. Butterfree. Yeah. I love that like Hank Hill has taken on like anime status where like they say like Hank Hill or not King of the Hill is the best American anime. Butterfree. No, boy. Oh, Dad.
Propane and propane accessories.
Dobby. I didn't watch enough Harry Potter to do Dobby. I don't even remember what Dobby sounds like, to be honest. Let's see. You know what? Fuck it. If we're doing impressions now, I'm kind of off track, but that's fine. Let's see. Dobby, Harry Potter, voice.
Dobby is free.
No, I don't want to guess because then fuck. It's so laggy. Dude, what's his name? Oh yeah, Malfoy's dad is literally so funny. He's just like such a sexy man. Oh, that's the guy from what was he in? He was in The Patriot, I believe, as like the lead bad guy.
Prove it.
Dude, I want to be a bad guy actor. They're so good. I mean, to make you actually hate them. All right, let's hear what Dobby has to say here.
Dobby?
Dobby, you.
Master has given Dobby a sock.
A butter sock. Master has given Dobby a sock. A butter sock. What? The fuck, Dobby, you
Master
idiot?
has presented Dobby with clothes.
Master has presented Dobby with clothes.
Mark, wait, did I miss? I'm sorry if I missed anybody here. I'm on such a tangent, but I appreciate you guys' support. Even though honestly, I feel like my impressions are like some of them I can hit, but most of them I'm totally fine with acknowledging that they are not great. Mark Durig with the $2 says, "Do the water boy from the movie Waterboy." What does he say? H2O or I feel like I would do Little Nicky a lot more. It's like,
Popeye's chicken is freaking awesome.
but what is Waterboy? Waterboy is like, when he make the noise and just like smash somebody. Dude, Waterboy was the shit back in the day, man. That was such a good movie. What the hell happened to Adam Sandler? He just like sucks, dude. I mean, I'm sure he makes some good stuff here and there, but man, he has not made a good comedic flick in a while. Take me away with another $10 and says, "Shut up, Malfoy." I know. Malfoy is such a doofus doof. I wouldn't mind being an evil man, though, in a movie. I definitely want to be an evil person in a cartoon. All right. That's all the Adam Sandler characters right there, yep. All right, sorry guys. I don't even remember what I was doing, to be honest. I'm like so distracted. Oh my god. Oh my god, Lorelli says a leaf almost hit me in the face and it scared me. I jumped and everything, got to slow down on the spooky stories. Yeah, you're taking it too fast to the vein. Alright, so here we go. Still reading about boats. Here we are, Weston. Let's get back on track here. Sorry guys, but thank you for the tangent. I appreciate it. The worst experience was in my cabin. I had been on board maybe 3 months by this point and had kind of accepted I was stuck on this messed up ship. I guess some of the fear had gone as you get used to being on edge. I ignored my door knocking by this point. It might have even stopped happening, I don't recall. I get into bed one night, read for a bit, and turn the light off. As soon as I turn the light off, I think I see a figure stood over the bed, but it's pretty much Ever see Pet Cemetery? Not the new one. But I saw the old one, and it did kind of mess me up as a young boy. But I honestly, Pet Cemetery was one of those movies that they really, really did not need to remake. Not that the first one was like spectacularly good, but I feel like that was part of the reason that you didn't really need to remake it, you know, because I could not imagine it like taking off. Like, it's definitely not going to be like It or whatever. As soon as I turn the light off, I think I see a figure stood over the bed, but it's pretty much pitch black, so I can't make out any detail, and after initially jumping, I reprimand myself for being silly and assume it's just my eyes adjusting. Then the figure sits down on the bed, squashing my legs and turning its head towards me. I can literally hear you screaming. Wait, oh, I see. He was doing a fourth wall breaking there, my bad. I can literally hear you screaming sleep paralysis at me right now, but I have experienced sleep paralysis and can tell you it wasn't that. I could move my arms and upper body just fine and could move my feet, but my lower legs were trapped by the weight of something. I was frantically pulling the duvet to try and dislodge the thing and get my legs out, but it was impossible. I tried to reach for the light switch, but it was a couple of inches out of reach. I started full-on swinging at the space where it should be sat, but my hands didn't hit anything. I started screaming at it, over and over, and eventually the figure stood up, and I could move my legs. I hit the light, and there was nothing there. I couldn't sleep without copious amounts of alcohol and a nightlight after that, even for a bit after I left the ship, which, as you can imagine, was awesome for picking up girls in my early 20s. Hey, want to come around and stay over? Excuse me while I lose my mind and drink and turn my nightlight on. Multiple other things happened after this, but this post is already pretty long, so I'll skip ahead to the last big thing with multiple witnesses. So when I'd been in that ship about 5 months, me and the night watch were in the crew bar after our watch finished probably at 4 a.m. I was about to begin my routine of drinking. I'd pass out, not a care if a ghost sat on me or whatever. We were talking about some weird stuff that we had seen on board. It was me and the second mate, the second engineer, and a grease monkey, an engineer lackey. As we were talking, one of the guys looks across the bar and says, "What?" His mouth is open like an O. We all look where he's looking, and a Henry Hoover. Henry Hoover? What? Lick peanut butter off the tip of my nose. That sounds... Peanut butter is my favorite. Got me there. Green Turtles turned 39 last month. Uh-oh, almost 40. What's the best, what's the secret to aging, guys? What do we gotta do? Make sure we take our multivitamin? Chunky or smooth? Okay. Wait. Okay. What are they talking about? A Henry Hoover. All right. His mouth is open like an O. We all look where he's looking, and a Henry Hoover is floating about 2 feet off the floor with its stupid smiley face looking at us. I'm gonna check what a Henry Hoover is. Oh, it's a vacuum. Oh, I see. Okay, it's like a shop vac type situation. That makes sense. That's funny. It has like a smiley face on it. His mouth is... Okay, here we go. Actually, lube the lips, get reset. Honestly, you'll be surprised, and I know nobody really does it, but... Oh, I didn't really... Wow, yeah, we're at 600 people. Good call. Thank you guys for being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Unless you're just chilling in bed, don't worry about it. Just get comfy, baby. We're just getting started. His mouth is open like an O. We all look where he's looking, and a Henry Hoover is floating about 2 foot off the floor with its stupid smiley face looking at us. The second mate says, "Get out of here," in like an incredulous manner, and the Hoover gets thrown a few feet off the left instead of just getting dropped. If you made it thus far, thanks for reading, and sorry it was long. I couldn't recount... Oh, shit. I think this is ending here. Oh, these are like a series of just edits. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. And I'm gonna have to think of a better way to end this, because I don't really want to read through all the edits, because I don't really think they're pertinent, but they might be. I reread and post fixing spelling errors. I try to post the following in a new thread as it covers stories from other crew members. Maybe I can type something. That was by far the most terrifying. The most terrifying experience we had as a group. That was here. You guys can type something too if you're bored. That was by far the most terrifying experience we had as a group. I've since I've never experienced anything quite as tangible as what I did on board that ship. I hope I never do it again. Alright, I just wanted to put something so it just ended like a normal story. Not that it really adds anything wrong to it, I just... The second mate says, "Screw off," in like an incredulous manner, and the Hoover gets thrown a few feet off to the left instead of just getting dropped. Now that was by far the most terrifying experience that we had as a group. I've never experienced anything quite as tangible as what I did on board that ship, and I hope to God I never do again. Who's my favorite YouTuber? Can't count myself. Well, I really like the channel Red Letter Media. They do reviews of movies and stuff, and I really like I know a lot of people get behind like individual personalities on YouTube, like, you know, you have PewDiePie and Markiplier and all the people and stuff, but like I really enjoy like banter between group people in the group, because it feels a lot more natural to me instead of, you know, just word vomit, which is kind of what I do once in a while by myself here. And you know, I just really enjoyed theirs because you know they're just very sarcastic and funny, but it's that way with each other, you know, rather than sort of forcing it. You know what I mean? And it just feels a lot more natural, you know. So, what's my favorite genre of like movie, or I assume you mean movie? Word vomit. Alright, so this next one, it's actually post of the week on Our Paranormal. Something odd keeps happening in my toddler's room. It's like he keeps pooping his pants and he won't stop. My husband, our son, and I moved into this townhouse around February of this year. It's 3 stories, not counting the basement. The second floor has the master bedroom and then a very small office space type room. In the small room, there is a set of stairs that led up to a 3rd loft type bedroom on the 3rd floor. We ended up splitting my son's room between the small bedroom and the 3rd floor, so the 3rd floor is more of a playroom while his closet, dresser, etc. is in the small room. He has had horrible night terrors since he was about 6 months old in the small room, so it's on the 3rd floor. None of us like this house. It's an okay property, but it just feels unwelcoming. I don't know how else to describe it, but we just don't like the house. It doesn't have an open floor plan and just feels closed off and cold. My husband works away during the week and is usually only home on weekends, so it's just me here alone with our son and our dog. Our only pet aside from Fish. We've had him for 7 years and he's very well behaved. I get really uneasy here at night because during the week oh weird, I wonder why I added because in there out of nowhere. It's like I'm going insane. I get really uneasy here during the week. Fuck. Hi, kitty. What do you want? I feel like my cat wants out, but might have to go let him out real quick. Be right back. Come on. Yay. Okay. Hey, your maker's here. I am insane. This is true. I've lost me mind. What are you up to, my dude? Everybody say hi to your maker and go subscribe to him and then take it a step further. Kick in his door and go tickle him while he's sleeping. Don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe do that. I don't know. Whatever he's into. If he likes it. I get really uneasy here at night during the week and make my dog and son stick pretty close. I've had a couple small things happen, like hearing footsteps running around on the 3rd floor. But the townhouse to the left is empty and the right doesn't even have a 3rd floor like we do. It's a row of 4 townhouses. The 2 middle have a 3rd floor. Oh, and my son and dog are both terrified of the basement. Unfinished washer and dryer are down there. My dog will not go down there. He has never once been in the basement. When I do the laundry, he stands at the top of the steps and waits for me. We've tried multiple times to make him go down after he rolled on a dead animal or got covered in mud and needed cleaned off, but treats aren't good enough, and we've tried to carry him, but he wiggled and threw himself around so much that even me husband couldn't do it. But treats aren't good enough, and we've tried to carry him, but he wiggled and threw himself around so much that even my husband couldn't safely carry him down. He's 70 pounds. My son was speech delayed. He went through speech therapy, which he has since graduated, but his speech just recently took off. Right after we moved in, I went down to do laundry and carried him with me, and as we got into the basement, he said, "Mama, what's that?" As he pointed around the ceiling of the room in a follow something type motion. I asked him what he meant, and he said, "Those flying people." At the time, that was a pretty significant amount of talking for him. Usually he would only say a word or maybe 2-word phrases at a time. It creeped me right out. Also, more recently, when he isn't having night terrors, he talks in his sleep like crazy, and at least once or twice a week he sits straight up and points to the ceiling or the corner of the room. Every single time, never the floor or couch or anything, and says, "Mommy, who's that?" Or, "Mommy, what is that?" He'll repeat the question over and over and eventually start crying as I tell him he's just dreaming and there's nothing there. I never see anything, but it's enough to scare the pee out of me, especially at night when we're alone. Basically, when I'm trying to get at... Who my favorite rapper? I like MF Doom. Do you remember MF Doom? Frank Zolchak with the 20 says, "Thank you for going to bed with me and putting me to sleep many a night." You're welcome. I tuck everyone in at night. Just like Santa Claus, I go to everyone's house and tuck them in, check under their bed for monsters, and then I actually end up crawling under the bed because I'm the monster. Aree. Okay. Doom is good. Yeah, I just like his creativity and the beats, and obviously it's very similar to Tyler, the Creator. I do like Tyler a lot. I think he's... I don't know. I'm not really sure how to describe it. Tyler, almost to a certain degree, seems like mildly arrogant in his, like, sort of edginess, you know? Like it's a sense of immaturity or something, but I do believe his past 2 albums have definitely grown in maturity, and he's pushed a lot more of other vocal talent forward. Make up a story on the spot. Okay, well, we just figured out that 420 is a hoax, so we have to get to the bottom of those details if anybody has it in chat. Was that me patting my head? Might be my tummy. Or my head. This is my head. This is my tummy. Not that I don't like that stuff. I just sometimes like forcing edginess obviously is kind of cringy. And I don't know. Deadleaf Clover is here. Hello, Deadleaf. She's grinding out the edits. How's that going? Also, you were in some collabs recently, right? Which is fantastic. This one time you 420 no scope somebody? Fuck yeah, dude. Basically, I'm trying to get at is that we've had a few creepy things happen, but it's nothing that can't be explained. Which leads me to the point of this post. In the small second story part of my son's bedrooms, I keep his dirty clothes in a cylindrical heavy cloth Batman hamper. Right after we moved in, I noticed that his clothes were always laying on the floor around it. I pick them up and throw them back in, but the next time I would go upstairs, they'd be back on the floor. I didn't think anything of it for the first couple of months. It was just annoying. I thought my son was doing it at first, but he is rarely on the second floor without me. He's like my little shadow and follows me everywhere. I started taking noticing. He likes Tyler's song Earthquake and the one he wishes his dad would answer. Yeah, Earthquake is good. That whole album, the past two albums have been great. And I like his other stuff. Like I honestly, I wish Tyler would be featured more in like more conventional hip hop beats, like I guess like the mumble rap 808 stuff, you know? Because when he gets featured in that, things like say with like ASAP Rocky or whatever, it sounds fucking cool. I just sometimes the things that he raps about, you know, aren't conventional, which is good and probably part of his larger appeal, but I just generally don't care, you know, about that kind of stuff. Nor in the sense of like I'm not going to use it to work out or something like that, you know. I've been offering my pants lately. Yeah, Jamie and Billy are not here to thirst. What the hell? Do 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 do. Give me your pants right now. I don't have any on, so what can I give you? Who dat boy? Yeah, no, it was cool because that was like a transitionary song, I feel like, between his more sort of violent things of the past to, I guess, a more conventional, you know, modern rap presence. The music video was cool with, especially the build up, you know, was really neat. And then him like blowing his face off, that was cool. And then I'm pretty sure he was like wearing some white guy's face while he was darting around in his cool car. Really cool car. And I did meet, I think I told you guys before, I met him in an airport one time, or in LAX when I went to VidCon. Hey, Yearmaker, see you later. See you later. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloweener. And I didn't expect him to be exceptionally nice or anything like that. And he wasn't. He seemed mildly irritated with his day, so that's about what I expected. And I kind of still had a bit of a fangirl sensation run through my body, but 'tis whatever. Apparently, then I was talking to the Uber driver about it, and they said you're not supposed to fangirl or really even bother celebrities in LA because it's kind of like their safe space. This is their safe space where they get to be normal people out in LA making millions of dollars, producing tons of cool stuff for people all over the world. You're not supposed to acknowledge it. You're not supposed to like tell them, hey, you're literally a god. What? But yeah, celebrities are just normal people, obviously. I don't have to tell you guys that, but it's whatever. It's whatever. Crizia, you're gonna stalk me? How much would I have to pay? That's what I need, my own personal stalker. When Tyler did that cooking show, remember he was on Adult Swim for a while, Loiter Squad, and there was that really funny skit where it was like, "You gonna get me a birthday gift on my birthday present on my birthday?" And she's like, and they like smashed the glass over her face. I thought that was really funny because it was just like really out there, but for the most part, a lot of the sort of pranks that they would do, it was just kind of cringy. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch more of it. I started taking notice of it more and would make a point to put the clothes back in before we would leave the house to go somewhere. And even though no one would be in the house while we were gone, the clothes would be out. So at that point I decided, okay, if it isn't my son, it is the dog doing it. I checked the clothes to make sure he wasn't chewing them or anything, but they never had any chew marks or slobber on them, and they were always just right outside the hamper. It wasn't like he was dragging them to his bed or kennel or anything. He always had access to the hamper at his old house, but this never happened there. Plus, I don't think I've ever actually seen him in my son's room. He hangs out on my bed, in his dog bed in the kitchen, outside, or in his kennel. Whatever, I suppose dogs do weird things sometimes. After that, I didn't pay much attention to it until recently when my husband brought it up to me. He started noticing it happening on his own, even though he's only here on weekends. Last week he asked if I'd been the one digging through our son's hamper and leaving the clothes on the floor. I told him how it's been happening for a long time now and that I think it's the dog. So we decided to start closing our son's door when we aren't in there just to see what happens. It's been a week now. The first time it happened with the door closed, I figured maybe the dog had done it somehow before I closed the door, but it kept happening. My husband took off for work today for a doctor's appointment, and this evening we decided to go do some grocery shopping. As we left, both my husband and I checked the bedroom, shut the door together, and left the house together so we couldn't blame the other for gaslighting. We also locked the door in the kitchen just to be sure. Oh, the dog. We locked the door. We locked that door in the kitchen. Tyler was a Vine legend. Yeah, I remember watching something with Tyler that was just like, oh man, this guy's kind of an asshole. Where he was like taking a video of a fan freaking out near his tour bus, and he's like, hey, you want to come in the tour bus? And she's like, oh my god, yes. And he's like, just kidding, go fuck yourself. And took a video of himself after that. I'm like, oh my god, man, that sounds like a real pleasurable way to treat your people who literally buy your tickets, man. Just being a complete asshole. But whatever, it's not like I hold him to some higher standard. Like I guess I could give two fucks about how some rapper acts. We also locked the dog. We also locked the dog in the kitchen just to be sure. When we got back, we went upstairs and, I kid you not, all the clothes were torn out of the hamper, and the hamper was laid flat. It looked like a steamroller ran over everything. That door was closed, and I know that there was no one in the house, and there's no way it was the dog. I took a picture, so I'll post it in the comments after I post this. It's just weird. What kind of ghost haunts someone by making a mess of a hamper? It's just so random. The door we closed is the only way into the part of the house, and we don't have an attic or crawl space. All of the extra space was made into the third floor bedroom, so it isn't like we've had someone living in the attic or anything. Our landlord told us a long time ago that the people that lived here before us were a young couple with a newborn, and they ended up moving because they bought their first house. Nothing weird there, I suppose. The neighbors have said before that they were a nice, normal family, so there's nothing creepy that happened on the property unless it happened before they lived there. I'm pretty stumped here. I feel like this is almost a glitch in the Matrix type thing. If anyone has any real, reasonable explanations for this, I'd love to hear it. And the picture isn't super interesting or anything, it's literally just a hamper with clothes around it, but I'll post in the comments anyway so you can see exactly what I mean. Alright, I'm gonna peek at this picture. Would be embarrassing if the Oh, did they even post it? I know. I'm late to the thread. Da-da-da. Where's the picture? Fuck. Wait, where's the picture? This is weird. She ain't even post that picture, bruh. What the heck? Oh. Well. It is a very unexciting picture. It's like just clothes. I'll just save it. Anyways, hamper ghost. Matheos Lemus, how about some ocean or sea horror stories? If you go back, not even that long ago, there are actually some ocean horror stories on the channel. I don't know how many videos ago, but it definitely was only a couple of months ago. I feel like time goes by so quickly. Time goes by so quickly. Mr. Haunted with the $2 says, "What up, broski? What's going on, Mr. Haunted? How are you? What have you been working on lately?" You dressed, Wolf's fan dressed up as an e-boy, had AirPods and a Nike jacket. Hell yeah, dude. That's what I'm wearing right now. Rahora Kati, there was an ocean documentary, but before the documentary, even before that, was Ocean Horror Stories. Let me double check just to, I can tell you and even link the exact video. The exact video. Your mind's gonna be blown. Yeah. 2 months ago, 7 True Scary Ocean Horror Stories from Reddit, Volume 2. I don't remember Volume 1, but I guess Ejol. Yo, sup guys, it's Ejol. So, yeah, that's only about 2 months ago, which is like, you know, a decent amount of videos back, but like scroll like 2 inches and you're there. Scroll like 2 inches, that's what she said. Those of you that smoke, how much are smokes from your area? Yes, cigarettes are very expensive, at least here. I don't buy cigarettes, but I mean, I feel like I've seen them upwards of $10 or something. Pop-up video. 700 peeps, you are right. Okay, worked on a haunted ship, haunted clothes hamper. I worked at a haunted grocery store. Oh my god, all these haunted things. Haunted laundry, haunted grocery. Hey, here it's Dr. Steve Broll, it's greengrocer. Oh, I better get my nut in because it's almost no nut November. That will last relatively 12 minutes, probably. JK. Oh, dude, it's Mr. Nightmare with no check next to his name, you imposter. How dare you? How dare you impersonate the #1 slot on Watch Mojo's top horror storytellers on YouTube, Video Man? How dare you? You fake, you fraud. You imposter. You imposta. You Italian linguini-sta. Lorelli, your house has plenty of ghosts, but they're not bad or scary, so I don't think they've made a good story. Oh, yeah. They're like very helpful ghosts. And my ghost freaking made me dinner again tonight and tucked me in and freaking kissed me on the forehead and paid for my college. Ugh. It's just, hope I never meet him again. Crazy, that's a streak for me. Burger King shit shish. Alright. Oh my god, Bread Moth, are you insane? With the $6.66 says February 19th. Favorite 19th century serial killer. For me, it's tied between H.H. Holmes and Jesse Pomeroy. Oh man, I have no idea. I mean, the only thing I would be familiar with, I guess, would be is 19th century. I guess the only thing I would know is like Jack the Ripper or something like that, but I'm completely clueless on that. But thank you for the cursed dollars. Zena Ron with the 10. Oh no, or 10 from Ron? Oh, Romania, nice, yeah. I'm from Bucharest, Romania. You excite me. Say hi. That's the greatest donation ever. Thank you. Hello from Romania. Hey, Jamie's here. Hello, Jamie. What the heck? How you doing? What's poppin'? How's your Halloweeny? Jack the Ripper was a woman? Dun dun dun. The plot thickens over 200 years later. Alright. While I was growing up, I decided to get a job at my local grocery store. It wasn't too hard to get the job since my mom was friends with the owner. On the first day of my new job, my boss mentioned that the store was haunted. She had told me that there was a ghost that they called Henry. Apparently, when she first started seeing Henry, he was a tall man in a brown trench coat. She would see him every so often walk past the back of the store. People would even come up and ask her where the man in the brown coat went. My boss also said over time, Henry has... Take me away with the 5 says number 15, Burger King foot fetish. Oh my god, dude. That's perfect. Has anybody ever said that? Am I the first one to ever say that? Burger King foot fetish. I was possessed by the ghost of Henry to say that joke. Oh, hey, Dollface Killer. What's poppin'? Oh, the Black Dahlia. The butter soup thickens. The butter sock thickens. Alright. My boss also said over time, Henry has just become a black shadow that runs past the back of the store. At first, I just thought my boss was trying to scare me, since I was young, but after a few weeks or so of working there, I started to see and hear things. The first time I heard something, I was all alone, as my boss frequently left me alone in the store, and I knew that there was no one in the store besides myself. I was sitting behind the checkout and I hear a freezer door close and footsteps. This happened frequently, probably almost every day or so. I never did witness it happen, so I never did rule out that it could be a noise from the freezers, but it just distinctly sounded like footsteps. There were occasions that I had seen a black shadow thing move in the back of the store, but I felt that it could have been my eyes playing tricks on me. Another weird thing that happened was that our bread would sometimes be on the floor when we came to work, and this may seem normal to someone else, but there were 2-inch metal grates in front of our bread, so none can just fall off. These aren't very crazy experiences, but they only happen in the right half of the store. I asked my grandpa about it, and he said that it was once 2 stores with a wall between them, so it made sense. The side with activity was also a grocery store. A while after working there, my boss built a new store pretty close to the old one and gutted out the old store, using almost everything taken out of the old store. I had to go back to the old one numerous times before it was demolished, and I always experienced footsteps and loud bangs when grabbing boxes my boss requested. Grabbing a boxes. Bread, I was thinking of you, bread moth, when I heard that. Bread on the floor, yeah. It was probably the bread moths. Having a go at him. I had to go back to the old store numerous times before it was demolished, and I always experienced footsteps and loud bangs when grabbing boxes my boss requested. After finally settling in the new store, it was almost like we never left the old one. I would still experience freezer doors opening and footsteps after hearing them close. Most of the time, this was right before closing, and I would wait for someone to come check out, only to have to search the whole store before I could close to make sure no one was still there. I also had many times where I would hear something fall, and I would go check and there would be a loaf of bread across the aisle, just like at the old store. The only difference is that in the old store the aisles were around 3 feet wide, but in the new store they were 6 feet wide, so I knew that wasn't something normal. The only thing that seemed to change was that there was no shadow figure running past anymore. I have asked newer owners over the years, and they still experience some weird things, especially the bread falling off the shelf, which is just odd, and someone must just hate Bread.
Goddamn bread-hating ghost!
Hey, Miri with the 20 buckaroonie says, Happy Halloween, thanks for the great narration. Thank you, Miri. I hope I pronounced that right. Is it Myri? It's a great name either way. Thank you, thank you. Bread haters. Bread haters must die. Hate crimes on bread is at an all-time high in this grocery store, and we need to put a stop to it. We're about to get this bread. We're about to save the bread. Save the whales? F that. Save the bread. Nom salmon? Do you nom salmon? Do you nom salmon? Oh, it's Marie. Sorry. Sorry, I pronounced them. Just Marie. Thank you, Marie, for the 20. Thank you, thank you. Have I ever seen Carrie? I know the general concept, but I never have. I'm curious though, like, how did Carrie get to have like magical powers and like burn the whole school down with her brain? Like, was there any explanation, or it just literally happened? She was so filled with rage, she set the place on fire. Blah, blah, blah. Let's obtain the grain. What are some other yeast? Let's yeet the yeast, I guess they say, or love the loaf. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Salad Fingers does need to make a comeback. I'm fairly certain that the creator of Salad Fingers has made some more. Oh, yeet this wheat. Okay, that makes more sense. Baguette. Me. Oh, it's never explained. That makes it creepier, I guess. How do you even like make a good horror movie nowadays? It seems difficult. It's also weird, I feel like, if you're going to write a script, because a lot of times like movies get knocked on their story for plot holes, and I'm like, you would think like professional writers in Hollywood, I know that we're all like fallible and maybe they're on time constraints and it's like sort of a culmination of groupthink and those kind of things where they're all just like, yep, looks good, like, you know, the new, or not the new one, but the Star Wars movies from like 2002, the prequels, so to speak. Jurassic Knight is here. You should put you should Photoshop like a crown on top of that dino's head. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, you would imagine if there's like these big Hollywood productions and someone's writing the script, that they would have like 100 people on a team just commissioned out to read through the script and tell them where all the plot holes are, and just, I mean, I guess I'm sure they do go over it with a fine-tooth comb, but it still seems like there's so many different story elements that kind of get overlooked or something of that nature that just doesn't make sense. I'm like, you think that would be something that Hollywood would have just down to a T by this point, you know? Hellraiser was a good movie. Hellraiser's very creepy. Brad Pitt, hell yeah. That would be fun. You should Photoshop Brad Pitt's face onto a loaf of bread. Chimera Arcade. It's a great name. Miguel Sosa, you're welcome. You're welcome. The CW is really good at writing crap scripts. What's the CW? Two of your sons are bakers rolling in that bread. That's sweet. I love bread, man. I want to go eat bread right now. Bread is life. Bread is love. Alright, this next one's called The Dead May Live On in Germany. Uh-oh. Spooky. Spooky dookie. If you take a haunted poop, it's called a spooky dookie. Boom. There's a Halloween joke for you. You think I'm a joke? You think this is some kind of joke? During the time my story took place, which was only about 3 or so months ago, I was currently living in Germany, participating in a military exercise. Being an American, this was my first time in Europe and also my first time in Germany. I love being there, as I have a huge fascination with war history, especially World War II. This is important as I believe it may have something to do with my unexplainable occurrence. We had headed out to do some training deep in the German countryside. Deep in the countryside. Do I remember the Max Headroom incident? I don't think so. Joshua Marshall. You've heard it here first. You could probably sleep on bread because it's so soft. There was a funny picture where it was just like someone took a bunch of slices of bread and put it on their stairs, and then it just like you could see the you could see the outline of like where their feet had walked up the stairs of all this bread. Oddly enough, though, as weird as it seems, I feel like at one point in my mind I probably had thought like that would feel pretty good, dude. Just stepping on bread. Alright. Weston's phone died, oh no. Oh, we're at almost 800 peeps. Let's get this up to 1,000. Can we crest 1,000? On Halloween Eve? Or I guess, I don't know. So if Halloween is All Hallows Eve, is then November 1st truly the Halloween? Hallow in between? All Hallows after? We had headed out to do some training deep in the German countryside, far from any real civilization, other than the other military units out there training with us. At this particular point, we had been out for maybe 3 or so days. We still had about a week to go, and we weren't expecting anything crazy to happen this early in the week. That's when we suddenly got attacked by the people who pretended to be the enemy. Luckily for us, though, my squad wasn't attacked directly because we were far away from everyone else, providing communications to our Luckily for us, my squad wasn't attacked directly because we were far away from everyone else, providing communications to our artillery unit. I would say we were a good couple of kilometers from anyone else, and we were on top of a huge hill. That way our radio signals can go further and be more effective. Regardless, we still needed to pull security just to be safe. I happened to be the first one on guard shift that morning, so I grabbed our machine gun and headed out from our vehicle. Now the hill we were on was huge, and had only one real way of approach, which was a tank trail that went from the bottom of the hill all the way to the top where we were. At the top of the hill it was mostly flat, but had another smaller hill to the left of the road. So basically, if you followed the road to the top and then headed left about 30 meters, you'd be at the base of this other small hill. Well, this small hill was the perfect spot to set up a machine gun nest, so that's where I put it. The hill was impossible to come up behind where I was sitting, as it was super steep and heavily covered in brush and trees. This brush covered almost the whole part of the little hill, leaving only one possible way to get up there, the way I was watching. Fast forward 30 or so minutes and the sun is just starting to rise through the trees. It was so quiet and peaceful, and I just sat on guard enjoying the beauty of Germany when it happened. I heard a very distinct hush voice say, "Hey," almost as if it was right next to me. It seemed like someone was trying to quietly get my attention. No wind was blowing. No churds. No churds were burping. No wind was blowing. No birds chirping. Nothing. I quickly looked around to make sure no one was somehow able to sneak up on me, and there was not a soul in sight. The rest of my squad was a good 100 meters away in the vehicle, and I couldn't even hear them. It freaked me out, but obviously I had to stay at my post. Then I was officially unnerved when my sergeant tried to sneak up on me a couple of hours later, but I caught him. He didn't realize how steep the hill was and how covered in brush it was, and I could hear him a mile away. He then said that he was glad that I had my head on a swivel and doing the right thing. We began to talk, and then he proceeded to tell me what I didn't want to hear. He basically told me that the area where we were training was a battlefield from World War II, and that a lot of our guys from our sister unit died around there because they had no artillery support and the Germans were so well dug in they couldn't do anything. That information, combined with finding German World War II ammo cans and machine gun belts in the area, led me to put two and two together. Honestly, I'm not sure what to think about this. I have no explanation as to why I heard this voice. I believe in the supernatural, but I also believe in explaining things. The thing is, nothing adds up. I wasn't tired, there was no one around me, and there were no other sounds in the forest. Part of me wants to believe it may be the spirit of a lost soul of the war, or maybe something else. Either way, I'd like your guys' input, and maybe some answers to explain this eerie occurrence. Send noodles. Sending noodles. Alright. Germany. So we got 3 more stories here on this beautiful Halloween evening. Whose birthday is it? Oh, Aries War. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy motherfucking birthday, yeah. Happy birthday to you. In Discord, I asked who was getting Pokemon cock and balls. They've run out of ideas, guys. That's all they've got anymore. Okay, what's the next Pokemon? Pokemon cock and ball? Because I asked my friend earlier, actually, if he was getting Pokemon Sun and Shield. I can't keep up with this shit anymore. I mean, I even got not a DS, but a fucking Switch Lite. I don't say I regret it. I just like, I'm just not a gamer. I'm just not a gamer anymore, guys. I'm not a true gamer. And also, Pokemon has literally not changed since Red and Blue. It would be dope, though, to play Pokemon just Red and Blue, just remade. Just keep remaking it on your new Pokemon engines, and, yeah. Oh, I'm a potty mouth. All I do is eat poop. It makes me a potty mouth. What if I was eating poop on the go? Would that make me a porter potty mouth? A portable potty? Ed Bassmaster in Pokemon cards. Dude, Ed Bassmaster is funny, dude. Would you just look at that? Just look at it. You play Overwatch, bro. Don't play those games. I know. I'm a real gamer. Though I did just download the new Call of Duty. I know I'll probably maybe be over it in like a week. I wish I wouldn't. I'm excited for Red Dead Online. Should be a good time. I don't know if you guys are getting that or anything. Hey, Cashy, what the hell? Just in time for the last 3 spookerones. Yeah. Call of Duty on this iteration, I definitely would say, has seen some improvements compared to the old ones. it's still relatively identical in its gameplay stylings, and it returns a lot to some older stuff. So I'm not like wildly impressed by it or anything. Apparently it's pretty well polished and just is going to give you a pretty straightforward gaming experience. But also, I wanted to ask you guys if anybody here is like computer nerds. Because I was going to ask Reddit, but I just like didn't know which Reddit to go to ask about computer questions. So I have a CPU that's from the year 2013, which, you know, in computer years is ancient, but I mean, I know CPUs are really not that abnormal, and it's more on the GPU from what I've heard. I could be wrong. But my specs are, you know, I have the GTX 1080 Ti, or the 1080 NVIDIA GTX 1080 Ti. So it's a pretty good graphics card. It's like 11 gigabytes or something like that. And I have my processor, my CPU is an i7 4770K processor, 3.5 gigahertz. I don't really know. I don't know if that even matters or not. But my question is whether or not I should get the iPhone 11. Fuck that, dude. I don't know. I have no faith in Apple at all for making anything actually good, and my current phone works fine. So maybe eventually. But yeah, so my question is whether or not my CPU is bottlenecking my GPU, and I need a new CPU. Okay, I need a new CPU and a new motherboard too. That's what I figured. But I mean, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to computer stuff, but it's getting a little bit more simpler as time goes on. But yeah, I'm just wondering, because I feel as if the GPU should be able to run most games at like the highest settings, but it still struggles with a lot of things. It even struggles with frame rates on Overwatch at times, which, in the sense of it's not getting like max frames that you would anticipate it to. And as it, yeah. So Mina says that I should get the new, nothing wrong with an i7, don't get an iPhone, new motherboard, and how much RAM do you have? I have 16 gigs of RAM, or megabytes. So I don't know if that would affect playing games really that much or not. Brittany with the 5 says, been waiting forever for a stream. Of course, it's when we're at Legoland, missed so much. Oh shoot, Legoland sounds sick though. I would gladly skip a stream to go to Legoland. Unless you've been there a million times, then I understand. But yeah, thank you for the info. Aaron Hanks, I do play Overwatch. Play too much Overwatch. Yeah. Mina, yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe you can DM me some information on the potential, because I know that I'm probably gonna have to reinstall Windows or some shit if I get a new motherboard, obviously, and a new CPU. I need an i9 Intel CPU and a new motherboard, maybe an Asus. Okay, interesting. Get as many gig of RAM as you can. Yeah, I might even just fuck it. Might even try to build a new computer at some point, because I mean it's definitely come that time, you know. But we shall see. I'm more just curious going forward. But thank you guys for your info, and for that I shall reward you with a beautiful spooky story. First time posting the thread, I wanted to wait until I was certain that it was haunted. This one's called Our Joanne Fabrics is Haunted. Man, we got every place haunted tonight. I honestly never heard of a retail store having a haunting. Okay. How old is Let's Read? He is 29. Asus, have some great motherboards. reward you with my twerking. Honestly, that might just make you pass out from your heart beating so damn fast. Oh, 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 those twerking, those moves. It's inhuman. Boom chicka boom chicka boom chicka boom chicka boom chicka boom chicka boom. What are the likes at? Yeah, where them likes at, baby? Click that like button. I'm the assistant manager at Joann Fabrics, so I work there plenty of hours during the week and spend a lot of time in the store. Sometime last year, or just barely the year before, there was a girl working with us. I'll call her G. G was always super friendly and never really seemed bothered by much. She was best friends with someone also working at the store, who I'll call C. Now, I never really got to know G very well, but I still got to know her a bit. Fast forward several months, and I find out from my manager, G passed away. She died in a really bad car accident. C was out of work for a while. Understandable, since her best friend of I think 13 years had just died. Now, fast forward a few months, I find out that C had apparently spoken to G. I'm super spooked, but I ask her how. She basically says, through a pendulum. The best way I can describe what that is a necklace with a point to it that answers yes or no questions while you're holding it. So, I definitely find it interesting. While C and I were closing one night, we notice we hear some odd noises coming from our upstairs. Now, upstairs is basically where we keep extra shelves and baskets. We try not to think of much, but there was one point then... Shit, sorry. Ram Ranch. Cowboys even getting fucked in their sleep at Ram Ranch is really sweet. But I want to tell you guys a quick story of some mildly intense experience that I had. So I was returning home from a small day trip about 2 hours away, and I was on this highway, one of those like sort of country highways that's not necessarily like a big official highway, but it's like essentially like a back road that trucks still travel, and it's only 2 lanes. So honestly, this highway sucks buttholes because it's filled with lots and lots of semis, and it's relatively cramped. And hey, Marie became a member. Thank you. You have just joined the Buttersock cult and become a full-grown pizza. Dude, AirPods suck. Just so you know, AirPods are trash. I'll never buy AirPods. I can't even put them in my ears. They're shaped round, so they just like fall out of my ear holes. And also, wearing those kinds of headphones that like smush into your ears is kind of bad for pushing in like earwax and potential infections. But so just be careful with those, because they dumb, dog. Anyways, so I'm driving back home. I'm behind this one semi, and I can't pass because it's just like, if I try to pass, there's other semis coming, and I can't quite see beyond them, and I don't want to end up killing myself, because then I wouldn't be able to stream, and that would suck. And then like, so the weirdest thing happened was as this semi was cresting this hill on this 2-lane highway, or rather 1 lane, I suppose you could say, a deer comes out of nowhere from the road, and it's not running. A deer is literally just walking casually, like just walking like you would see a deer walk through a meadow, like with no fear in the world, and just walk right in front of this like semi that's going probably like 60 miles an hour, and this fucking huge semi truck literally like just screeches into the other lane and then screeches back over. But as it does it, I swear to God, the thing literally almost like tipped over right in front of me. Now, granted, I had given him some space because I was like, fuck this shit, and had probably about maybe 100 yards of distance between me and the truck. But I swear to God that thing almost tipped over, and I was just thinking like, oh my God, like at any moment while you're on the highway, not to fill you with some like excessive fear, but especially during the months here where the deer population is heavy, and thus, hunting season to keep the population down and, blow their heads off, whatever. Like, the deer could just walk out, a semi could swerve to miss this deer, and literally just head on crash into you, like out of nowhere, like completely out of nowhere. Life can just be taken from you. It's insane. And yeah, Pennsyltucky deer, I swear to God, there's so many of them too. And the weirdest part was not even just the fact that this thing almost tipped over. That was terrifying, but the weirdest part is after I had a second to like analyze all the information that visually went into my eyeballs and then into my brain, was that the truck swerved to avoid the deer. So the deer, if you're facing my direction, the deer came from the left side of the road, walking across in front of this truck, illuminated by the truck's lights. It swerves left to avoid it, and then swerves back into the lane. And whenever I looked over to the right side of the truck, anticipating that the deer would now be in my trajectory, it was nowhere to be seen. So that was really, really, really strange. And the only explanation I could think was that like the deer maybe got exploded into like a red mist or something like that, and I missed it, or just and got hit. But it didn't go underneath the truck. It didn't go off to the side. I don't know what happened to this deer. It might, but in the fact that it like walked across like really slowly, just like reminds me of like a really creepy horror movie. You know what I mean? Like where it's just this mindless, hallucination crossing, and I guess me and the trucker both saw it. It was interesting. It was a ghost deer for sure. Oh, your 10-year-old daughter killed an 8-pointer last Sunday. Holy cow, that's a big one. I remember seeing that video of that little girl who, just killed her first deer, and she's like literally shaking, like so excited. She's like, I can't believe I just did that. I mean, I guess hunting is pretty adrenaline filled. I had attempted it a few times when I was younger, but not really. Maybe I'd go out for a hunt nowadays, but just not really my bag, baby. I'm more of a gamer. I'm more of sniping the enemy team. Mina, we had a deer go through the sliding passenger doors on an SUV. Sliding passenger doors of an SUV, and the driver was ticketed for hitting the deer. That's so fucking stupid, dude. Like, why? Whoops, you know what I mean? Like, whatever happened to fucking whoops? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It could have been a skinwalker. Could have been a skinwalker. Did the deer face the truck? I don't think so. It was crossing from left to right. Truck swerved left. Should have been on the right side if the truck didn't hit it, but I don't know. Trying to think of the physics of it, but yeah. Did I get the new COD game? I did, but I haven't played it yet. I've downloaded it. It took forever. It was like 120 gigabytes. It was fucking stupid, man. I had to delete a bunch of shit. Also part of my motivation to get. Also, what are those new like SSD hard drives, but they're like better than SSD, like even faster? Those interest me quite a bit. Shit. We'd not... Oh, fuck. I'm stuck at reading now. We try not to think much of it, but there was one point that it came down, and just the sounds of someone walking around the store, even though we had just closed. We looked around to see if we could find the customer, but there was no one there. After we finished closing the store, we sat outside. I had to wait for my ride, and she said, "We could ask if there's someone here." She pulled out her pendulum and started asking questions. I was curious, but extremely skeptical. It seemed to be answering questions, but I just put it together as she has to be moving it. Things like, "Are you a nice ghost?" It would answer yes. "Are you someone we know?" It answered yes. We didn't think it could be G at the time. Why would she be there? Now, while there's plenty of small little hauntings I could go over, I'll go over the ones that made both my manager and I certain. Here's the thing. I never brought this up to my boss. I knew she'd probably disapprove, definitely disagree. So I felt like I was just making mountains out of molehills. Things like when I'd walk into the store by myself in the morning, and when I walked by the Cry-Cut vinyl aisle. Cry-Cut? Circuit vinyl? Is it circuit vinyl or Cry-Cut? I'm an idiot. Hold on a second. Let me look that shit up. Oh, Cry-Cut? Cry-Cut? Cry-Cut. How do you pronounce that shit? Yummy Bells with the 610 yen says, I'll be waiting at my door in case you go trick-or-treating. I am the treat. Jump in my bag. Get in my bag. Okay. Cry-Cut definition. How do you say it? Yeah. You guys remember Survivor? When it would be like, yada 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 ya. Yeah, yada yada ya, yada 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 ya. Dude, what the fuck was Survivor? That was such a funny show, but
Cricut.
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 Cricut. Thank you, internet voice. M.2s are faster than SSDs. You had a deer run up on you and I played with it all day. I had some weird stuff happen. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. I'd like to have a baby deer. That'd be fun. Do they attract a bunch of ticks or... tick or treat, right? Spooky, spooky skeletons. Cricut. Things like when I'd walk into the store by myself in the morning, and when I walked by the Cricut vinyl aisle, I'd hear a motion and then a vinyl would come off the hook and roll down the aisle at me. This happened twice, 2 separate mornings. Another time I was putting on iHeartRadio. I was changing it to a station that I liked, and all of a sudden there was just static in the radio, and I swear there was just a voice that said, F you. Guys, I've never had such painful goosebumps in my life, so I switched stations and the music came on. The last thing that put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, was when my boss came to me. She has heard some of the funny, haha, we're hunted gossip and heard about some of my experiences. She was so dead serious and told me what happened when she had opened that morning and another morning. The first thing she experienced was when she heard someone walking around in the store from the back room. She looked up at the monitors we have in the back and saw someone slowly walking down the jewelry aisle. She walked out there, phone in hand, to call the police, called for them, and saw there wasn't anyone. She went to the back room, looked at the monitors again, and they were still there, just standing now near jewelry. She went and turned on the lights, and it was gone. She described it as just the head and maybe shoulders of an almost gray shadow. The second experience she described was again only in the morning. We have 2 bathrooms that are right next to the back room door. They're one-person bathrooms, so they have those heavy doors that just make a big clank noise when shut. Only one of the bathrooms has a fan that starts when opened. Well, she was counting the drawers when she heard the clank of the door shut near the back room. She goes out to check and can see the light under the door and the fan going in the bathroom. She knocks on the door, and the light and fan turn off. She opened the door. No one there. She told me she was just shaking and called her husband and told him what was going on. He came to me later talking about one morning when he was visiting her at the store. He was standing near the Cry-Cut vinyls, and with no one there to touch them. Cricut vinyls. Sorry. Let me finish this and I'll tell you guys a separate story. Something I heard recently. Weston, don't fight anybody, dude. Be nice. This is a nice chat room. This is a pause energy chat. We're filled with pause energy, and we're super paused. Everything's pause. So take a pause to feel the pause. Boogie Machine. I never really look because I turned off the sound for subscribers, which is, just like following the page on Twitch or whatever. But I looked over and I saw Boogie Machine has just subscribed, so I'd like to welcome Boogie Machine to my channel forever. Forever. You're stuck here listening to my videos forever. You'll watch every video, every advertisement, every fucking thing. Susie says, my husband is extremely safe with her, and this is the only time it's used. Otherwise, it's locked up. Most of the time she uses a cross, now not a gun. The cross now is a lot easier. That sounds fun. I never used a crossbow before. But I admire girls who hunt because I feel like, obviously it's, everyone's got their interests and stuff like that, but I just admire girls who like aren't afraid of things. Like tough girls are cool. I mean, obviously everybody has various talents and different things and their different interests and stuff like that, but just people that aren't afraid to step out of the conventional happenings of, sort of gender expectations or something like that you like need to look at a gun and be afraid of it or something like that, or don't want to participate in outdoor activities because it's cold or something of that nature. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling on that regards, but I like a tough bitch. JK. Just kidding. Let's read as a bottom. Thanks, Paper Beast. Throw me under the table again. I dare you. 62-inch reflex deflex hybrid longbow. Dude, that's sweet. Dude, I mean, I play a lot of Hanzo, so I can kind of relate, Dinking headshots. Does she dink headshots, bro? Throwing rocks at things is so 2K Jesus. Yeah, that's yeah. I admire girls who stone deer to death. That's what I prefer. You love female wrestlers. Hell yeah. He came to me later, talking about one morning when he was visiting her at the store, when he was standing near the crick-cut vinyls, and with no one there to touch them, saw 3 of them just suddenly start swaying back and forth on their hooks. Now he believes in ghosts, and told me and my boss, I'm very certain that it has to be G. And we were both a bit taken aback. Why would she haunt the Joanne she worked part-time for? But he told my boss, just say hello to her in the morning next time. Let her know that you see she's here. She'll slow down on all of this. Guys, my boss told me this the next morning. She just walked in, said hello, G, and nothing spooky happened. For me, or for her, or anyone else that I know of, I'll try to keep this up to date to let you know if either me or my boss or anyone else experiences anything else. Because this has to really throw blah 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 blah. Michael Scott. Oh yeah. Michael Scott just has to be the greatest character to ever exist in television comedy. I mean, his character is very similar to Peter Griffin, where he's like a bozo idiot, you know what I mean? Where he's really, really dumb and does very, very silly, kind of lovable idiot type things. But then there will be times where he cuts into just like really, really hardcore, says some really hardcore mean shit to somebody. And I don't know if you guys think the same thing, but I think Michael Scott and Peter Griffin are like the same character, because there's times where Peter Griffin will just, and Michael Scott will both just say some really savage ass shit, and it's so fucking funny, man. It's so funny. Michael Scott's sitting on the he's sitting on the bench throwing entire pieces of bread onto the floor and just saying like, "Caw, caw, caw." This is so fucking funny, man. All right. All right, all right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Now, Michael. Yes? And now, Toby. God, no! I've experienced some spooky, haunting stuff before, but this one is just so odd to me in a retail store. I just can't figure out why she'd haunt Joanne's. I thought it was because of C, her best friend, but she's quit now and is working somewhere else. There were speculations that she might have been stealing from registers, but there wasn't really evidence to back up all the claims. Even so, she wouldn't haunt Joanne's for that, would she? You know what's so weird to me is that anybody who ever talks about like hauntings and stuff, they always act like it's super normal. Like, or not normal, but like normal in the sense of like, they don't ask themselves like, what is a haunting? Like, what is a haunting? Like, if you're a dead person, you die in this Joanne fabric store, or, you know, you work there or whatever, why would you... Do you have a choice in the matter, or do you get, you know, you go to ghost school and you get assigned, you know, an internship at haunting the Joanne's fabrics and fluttering the, you know, the vinyls back and forth or some shit? But like, is that your hell? Are you stuck in hell? But it's like in some sort of like you know, like in between worlds type experience. Like, is that her literal hell because she was stealing, like, just to constantly be stuck somewhere with no sort of recommendation, not recommendation, but recognition from your, you know, your human counterparts or whatever? I don't know. Nobody ever asks why. They never ask like why there's a haunting. They just say that it did happen, and I don't know. I feel like why what is the deal with hauntings? Like, are they demons? Are they ghosts? Like, are they like, what the frick are they? You know, like, is it something in between? Like, does negative energy attract demons? Do the demons pretend to be ghosts? Are the ghosts stuck here? Is it their hell? Is it their purgatory? Is it like, but I mean, like, purgatory is weird because it's like, it didn't really come into existence until like after the Roman Catholic Church like had sort of generated it as a sort of traditional word of mouth concept, as it's, you know, I've read through the Bible and it's not present in the Bible in the most literal sense, in the same way that like the rapture concept is also not super prevalent, or like a really strong concept within like Revelation. It's more just like a weird blurb of allegory. I don't even fucking know, honestly. Maybe I'm wrong, but obviously life is just one big mystery we will probably never know. But I am curious, like, what, yeah, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like, is being stuck on Earth as a ghost, is it sort of, yeah, and then there's ghosts as a residual energy, like, as if though it's quite literally just an energy left behind, not so much as, like, a conscious being, more so as sort of a repetitious, electricity, you know, or say, you know, every day you walk down to the well to get water, you know, for your village. You did that 10,000 times every day, you know what I mean? And then you passed away, and then it's like the fact that action, you know, was such a repetitious energy in your life, or in, you know, in that area, that, you know, maybe your sort of residual energy, whatever that might be, gets played on repeat based on some sort of strange, possibly scientifically explained phenomena. I'm not really sure, and I guess that's why also, like, the negative energy of suicides and homicides and things of that nature, like, do they attract really, really bad things? Fuck if I know, but I like talking about it, so... Wolf says, well, in 2.3 billion years, the Earth will blow up by the sun blowing up. So, you know, I don't really... Anything anybody says about knowing what the Earth... We don't even know what the weather is, literally, like, a week from now, most of the time. Like, we can make a rough guesstimate. So anybody that tells me what the Earth is going to be like in anything over 10 to 20 years, and let alone 2.3 billion. Like I just feel like everyone, like the hubris of people to think that we understand everything in this modern era. Like I don't know. There's just so much more to be learned, and I feel like there's a lot of humility in kind of accepting that we just will never, ever know. All right, the second to last story is called "I had an encounter in a public restroom with someone that wasn't there." Whoa. He was talking to the fart ghost. Ghost poop. The old earth will be old, that's true. Why don't you be a preacher? I don't think I could maintain, like, I don't think I could do that. I like to support people's positive causes, you know, like helping people. Like if you know someone that works in like a ministry or whatever it might be, and you know, like just that are doing good for people, giving them hope, giving them assistance financially, or helping them with physical needs, or providing them with good stuff. I believe in that. I think that's really good. But for me to sit there, like, there was a period of time where, you know, I would walk back and forth to the gym, and at one point, and I always passed by this Mormon church, this Church of Latter-day Saints, and dude, nicest people you will ever meet. And I can understand why they pull so many people into the Mormon church, because they're so freaking nice. Like, why wouldn't you want to be part of an environment where people just treat you like you're a very loved individual and that kind of thing? But like, whenever basically they were teaching me things, like they would give me a quote-unquote lesson in exchange that they would teach me piano, because the one guy was like had been playing piano since he was a kid, and he was in his 20s now or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd love to learn how to do some piano stuff. And if you're gonna teach me some random shit about Mormonism, it might be interesting. And the whole time I'm listening to this guy talk about like Joseph Smith and some sort of fucking, like, I don't even know, like a tribe of Israel that came over from the time of, like, sometime in the Old Testament, and they I don't even know, like some angel nonsense, buried in the hills, golden tablets that are missing, and the guy could only see it through his magical lens of his hat or some shit. I mean, the literal South Park episode is relatively close to what the truth actually is, but I mean, like, how they even got over through the ocean. I believe there was like some sort of wooden submarine powered by crystals or some shit. That could be made up. I feel like I vaguely heard that when they were telling me stuff, but it was, I mean, the whole time I'm just like, this is complete bullshit, you know what I mean? And even if it's hypothetically not bullshit, how could you ever prove that to somebody? You know what I mean? Like, how could you ever sit there and tell them information about, like, the afterlife, or the history of the world, from a spiritual sense, I suppose, and actually consider what you're telling them, that someone is going to believe that with a 100% certainty, to the point that they'll devote 2 years of their life traveling around teaching people about this stuff. And it's like, the fact that they're bringing good into people's life, and love, and the underlying message is goodness, at least in the more modern reform sense, that's fantastic. Like, great. We need more good in the world. We need less lording power over people. We need less violence. I think the non-aggression principle that people adhere to all makes a lot of sense. But for you to sort of like adhere to a particular spiritual narrative that usually has historical context to it as well, that can't be proven. Like, I'm not saying any of it's not true. I'm just saying, having grown up in that kind of experience, like, I just have come to the point where I don't even know how I can sit there, look someone dead in the eyes, and tell them that I believe this, and that with 100% certainty when I literally have how am I supposed to know anything? I don't know shit about shit. I don't even know what came before me. I don't know what's going to come after me. I mean, it's great that there's things that people can rally behind and do good. But I just, and I believe in a lot of the aspects of it socially, as far as like putting family first and helping those in need and all that good stuff, all that good stuff. But like when it comes to the narrative, it's just like, how do you do it? You can't 100% do it, and that's what they say, like that's faith and all that kind of stuff. And I get that, but like sometimes I feel like the way they go about it is inappropriate, because it's almost as if though they don't seem to understand the context in which they're presenting something so ridiculous. Like they just kind of expect you to randomly wake up today and have like a fuzzy feeling in your tum-tum, and now you believe, like that's cool that you do, and I admire that people do, and I do at times, but I'm so wavering with my sensations of reality that I don't even know how I can even kind of like hone down a truth, because for me to sit there and say it is intellectually dishonest, I guess you could say. Billy Amber with the 2 says 49ers won, baby. I am at the game. Oh, Billy, that's sick. Dude, 49ers are doing pretty good this year, huh? What's his name? Boza. Is he going to be defensive MVP, rookie of the year type situation? That'd be sick. I hope you're having fun. Breadmoth with the 666 doll hairs. I'd haunt my workplace if I ever expired there suddenly. That would be funny. But it also sounds like eternal torment, too. Guys, once again, I'm not saying all these things to knock on anybody's belief or religion and all that kind of stuff. It's just that, like, for me to even say what happened 100 years ago, or even to say what's happening right now in like like if we can be lied to about what's happening in a foreign country thousands of miles away from us, just based on some embellished concept or story or hearsay or nonsense, like that's happening right now, how are we ever with 100% certainty going to say that we understand reality somewhere far away 2,000 plus years ago, or even 100 years ago? It's just like I feel that if you're going to believe in something, I feel that you should absolutely take a lot of time out of your own personal time and dig into it and learn it yourself, because learning it from someone else is just going to make you feel helpless. I feel like it's going to make you feel as if though that individual that's teaching it to you becomes the God that you're so desperately seeking after. You know what I mean? So just, keep an open mind is all I'm saying. Keep an open mind and keep learning, keep digging in, treat people well. I think, as I said before, the non-aggression principle is pretty universal. I think that should be applied to pretty much everything. Yeah, just thank you guys for being here. Happy Halloween. The veil is thin, but my thighs are not. Ba-doom-choom. The veil is thin, but my booty is thick. That should have been a Halloween shirt someone should have made. Dion St. Michael says, religion is a very personal thing. I don't begrudge anyone of their right to believe in whomever or whatever they want. Who the hell am I to judge? That's not my station in life. No, that's absolutely true. I absolutely agree with that. It's so hard to do that. I had participated in Christianity for quite a while, and I still do. I still do at times to time, though I'm I would wholeheartedly acknowledge a massive hypocrite in that regard to the sort of tenets of expectation from it. But to sort of maintain your quote-unquote faith in that for your entire life without like a mild sense of wavering, now that's an individual who who's got a strong rock bed foundation. And maybe something happened in their life that really keeps them there. But for those that don't really have that, or don't have it consistently, honestly, how can God ever blame them? You know what I mean? But I guess that's my human logic. I'm only a human. Jamie with the 20 big ones says, Joel, you are our religion. The Buttersock cult unites. We believe in you. The only thing the Buttersock cult desires of you is to enjoy those breadsticks, that pizza, and those tacos. Everything else is up to you. You've been setting goals for the rest of the year. I hope I can achieve them. That's pretty good. Oh, yo, that's a good idea. Harakti, how do you say your name, my friend? I feel so bad. I literally, can you like sound it out for me? But he says I should, yeah, the veil is thin, but my booty is thick. That's, that's actually perfect. I shall be assigned to run a lasagna division in this new religion that Cash and I are still, yes. Wait, what? I'm just a lasagna lieutenant? A lieutenant? Lazrona? I'll just be Garfield. I love all the weird, there's like a really weird subreddit related to like Garfield being sort of like a, you know, an extra dimensional Cthulhu monster. I think those are really funny. You shouldn't have done that, John. There's like tentacles busting out of his back. Or like pulling John into just an abyss. Alright guys, so did I even read this story? Dude, lasagna is the fucking shit, dude. That's one thing I can get behind is food. Good food. Probably the best. Dude, I've come to the conclusion, literally the best things in the world are food and friends. If you can get some friends and some good food, food's friend and family. There's a shirt for you. There's a shirt you could put on a Hallmark card. Food's friends and family. Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's come up with more Hallmark bullshit. I have had several creepy encounters in my life that I couldn't explain. However, this one happened tonight and it truly boggles my mind. I was in a grocery store desperately trying to find the restroom. It was about 10:30 at night and the store closed 30 minutes after. Finally found it, and I always walk through the restroom at night to make sure I'm aware of my surroundings. I checked the stalls. All of them were wide open, and to my luck the bathroom was completely empty. Or so I thought. I sit down in my stall, closest to the sinks and door, and start doing my thing when, all of a sudden, from a stall next to me to my right, I hear a woman say, "Excuse me, do you have the time?" Oops. "Excuse me, do you have the time?" Her voice was very calm and almost sad. Have in mind, maybe keep in mind, okay. Hey, Joe Cordova with the 5 says, just curious, what do you think of Huff Paranormal, the guy with the ghost speaking box? Oh, I've never checked it out. What's that all about? I've definitely heard of the ghost box stuff before, but I've never really watched that kind of content, at least recently, no. But I'd like to fill me in, chat. What's the deal? Pioneer Drax with the 5 says, in Joel we trust. I'm not one to trust in, honestly. I could not debate my way out of a paper bag when it comes to, well, not that you asked me to debate or anything like that, but I can only take you so far before you guys realize I am no God King. Even a God King bleeds. Lila, good night. Keep in mind there was no one in the restroom when I checked it, and it was dead silent in there, no pun intended. I ignored it and continued peeing. Then, as I was finishing, I heard tapping on the stall wall and again heard the voice say, "Excuse me." I was just trying to use the bathroom and then leave, but after hearing her twice, I couldn't ignore that it happened. I did end up ignoring it and pretended like I had headphones in and rushed to pull my pants up and get out of there. Keep in mind it was late at night and there were hardly any people in the store, so to hear someone next to you at night, when you checked every stall, which were all empty, was the scariest thing to say the least. I thought it could have been a sketchy situation as well. As I leave my stall, I hear her voice once again say, "Do you have the time?" I decided to answer her and told her that it was 10:30. She replied by saying, "Thank you." She sounded so sad and her voice was very monotone. I still didn't understand how someone could have entered the bathroom without me noticing or hearing, considering how silent it was in there, and I was alone when I entered. Yet somehow there was a woman right next to me in the empty stall without making a single noise prior to talking to me. Just because I was so confused, I peeked down a little bit to see if I could see her feet, but nope. No feet and nothing slightly above that either. The bathroom stall was also slightly ajar and wasn't latch closed. Other than her question for the time, I heard absolutely nothing. Dead silence. I proceeded to wash my hands and then left quickly. Even if that was someone tweaked out, I didn't want to stick around and find out. Bread moth with the 660... No, not 600. That would be funny. That would be next level if you accidentally type that in. $6.66 is who makes the backgrounds for the video. I'd love some Let's Read wallpapers for that. Well, believe it or not, it's our good friend Robin, who's in the Discord at all times, like a delightful family member. I don't know what that means, but yeah, Robin does pretty much all of the custom art for the streams, and and also if you wanted that kind of stuff, I could send it to you probably over Gmail, or he could do it if you'd like to DM him. I'm sure he'd be happy to send that over to you. Maybe resize it for your screen. Is it? What do you mean by that? Is it not appropriately sized on the stream right now? Robin is a god. He honestly is. He's incredibly talented, and he's a workhorse too. Just freaking pounds stuff out and is so impressive every time. Who does the intro music? It depends on which intro you're talking about. The one where there's a nuclear bomb that falls, and the soldiers are in the skeleton soldiers are in the trenches. That. Oh, Natalia, that was for Breadmoth. Sorry about that. That opening was done by Axeman Cartoons. The one where the astronaut is floating through space as watching nuclear bombs blow up on Earth, that is Umami. And then the one where the Wendigo for the paranormal stories is walking through the forest is done by Robin Mikalsen. And as well as the one where the Wendigo type character is kind of pulling you towards the TV, and it's like more of like an 80s synthetic, synth style, almost like Stranger Things. That is also Robin as well. That one is one of my favorites because the sensation that music gives me is like just hardcore ASMR. It's really, really good. Guardian, read the case files on the Finders. I've been hearing about the Finders a lot recently. It's like some sort of strange human trafficking cult related stuff. Am I right? Like FBI declassified files. I heard about that. Sounds creepy as heck. As heck. Wolves fan, you should do your first intro ever. I don't know what you mean by that. Do you mean I should make one, or? Alright guys, this last one is actually a Glitch in the Matrix story. Oh, man. If ASMR gives you a boner, are you a real e-boy? You're damn right, dude. If it doesn't, you're not a true e-boy. Guardian. Oh, it's worse. Oh, boy. Well, you should. We have a conspiracies forum on the Discord, and you should post some stuff about the finders and that, because I'm very much interested in learning more about that. Dude, some of the shit people do here on Earth, like, so strange. Like, when you learn about the secret societies that people form, like, their sort of obsession with the occult, choosing specific holidays such as Halloween to do certain things, numerology, a lot of weird stuff. Like, and you just wonder yourself, like, what makes people? And I'm like, you know what? If people can go to church for years and years, I mean, granted, it's like good things happen to them, but I can see people getting pulled into cults just as easily, especially if it offers them something of the more carnal desires. We as humans are really so susceptible to control and various ideologies. It's strange. I think one of the most frustrating aspects of being human is probably hierarchies. I never really liked hierarchies. I never liked someone being at the top of something when in reality they are just as fallible and mortal as you are. So like a king or a leader of sorts, or and there's a hierarchy of command, chain of command. I guess I understand that it keeps the ball rolling. That's why you always see in like military stuff like that. That's a command, soldier. Like I've never been one to sort of appreciate that concept, because you should have every right to make decisions based on your sort of personal moral perspectives or even preferences. Obviously fighting the mob is sometimes more difficult than just going with them, so that's always difficult. You gonna get Pradeep a girlfriend? Maybe. He needs to lose his gut. What made me want to do narrations? Well, I thought I wanted to do YouTube, and I didn't really think that there were many narrations, or at least I didn't think reading stories existed on YouTube. And then I stumbled across the creepypasta community, and that's kind of just what led me down that path, because I felt that that was like the most appropriate direction for me to go with my channel. It's right to look up to some elders. I believe that. No, I totally believe that, especially if they have an appropriate wisdom about them. But if an elder is telling you to do something that goes against your moral code, or is maybe potentially robbing you of your property, or taking something from you, or commanding you to do something that's outside of a certain code of ethics, I think that you have every right to stand up for yourself. And obviously you have to make those decisions as it happens. But whenever it exists within the sort of corporate setting or a governmental setting, it's hard to fight against, because, certain things are enforced by force. And, the quote-unquote non-aggression principle that exists within a sort of more minute groups, or micro groups amongst friends, like we don't hurt each other, we don't take each other's stuff. But when it exists on a hierarchical standpoint of government, suddenly the non-aggression principle is no longer applicable, and it's suddenly ethically okay to take action against someone because you're enforcing a quote-unquote law. And to me, I understand that enforcing laws are kind of an unnecessary evil to a certain degree, but it also, to me, feels a very barbaric aspect of our society that I don't really know if we'll ever be able to get beyond. Billy Amber with the 2 says, guys, I'll be back. Don't want to get trampled here. Yeah, don't do that. All right, so this one's... Oh, Guardian, you found my Instagram. Nice. Yeah, the Instagram is probably one of my favorite things to post on there, because it's very just like lighthearted, It's just like constant positive vibes. Okay, so you got lots of trick-or-treaters. That's good. Oh yeah, we're on 3 hours, guys. This is a pretty long stream compared to most. If you submit a story, how likely is it to make it into a video? It's honestly comes down to sort of like happenstance of me doing subscriber stories, and then also stumbling across your story, and also maybe it being upvoted. Obviously, I want people to upvote their stories appropriately based on the quality of the story, and the best stories are the ones that get read. But I would highly advise you to have good grammar and, you know, a decent title, appropriate tags, you know, either true or paranormal, and, you know, just do your best to fulfill those guidelines, and you should have a good chance. 2 weeks ago, my husband and I adopted a cat named Morty. He's a year-old DSH tabby, and we love him. We also have a 12-year-old pupper named Milo. The transition has been interesting, slightly challenging, but worth it. We've learned a lot, and he's a great kitty overall. When we go to bed at night, we keep both animals in the room and shut the door because we don't want them roaming the house at night. Morty's litter box is also in our bathroom, attached to our bedroom, so it works out well. My husband wakes up during the week around 6 a.m. to get ready for work. Usually Morty sleeps through the night, but he gets hyper when my husband gets up because, well, people are moving around and he's excited. Sometimes he will wake us up around 4 a.m. though. He does a couple of things that wakes us up from time to time. One, he messes with our curtains in our room. He really likes them for some reason, and he'll hide behind them and claw at them. 2, he likes to go under our bed and get close to where our heads are sleeping near the headboard and scratch and claw up at the mattress. This one is most annoying because we can actually feel him clawing at the mattress. We don't feel his claws in our head or anything because our headboard and thickness of the mattress saves us, but we do feel it. Usually we will call his name loudly in a "you're in trouble" tone, or my husband will make a loud noise by hitting the rail of our bed frame. This does not hurt our cat, as he is just hitting the frame. It is more just a scare tactic to hopefully scare Morty away from under the bed. It usually works, and Morty will go back to his little tree that he sleeps in eventually. Now, we are always very diligent in making sure both animals are in the room with us before we close the door for the night. Our dog sleeps on the bed with us, so it's easy to know he's there, but we always put eyes on Morty to make sure he's in the room as well. We close the door and then go to sleep. Last night, around 6 a.m., Morty was being naughty. We heard him meowing a bit. Not abnormal. He will meow a few times in the middle of the night, which is fine. He was messing with the curtains, and we felt and heard him clawing at our mattress. We try the name-calling and hitting the rail. He stops, but he continues to meow and walk around. My husband gets up to get him so that he can put Morty in his cat tree that he sleeps in. He grabs his phone to use as a flashlight. We sleep in complete darkness. First place he checks is under the bed. Morty's not there. Our room is not very big, but he does have a bathroom and closet attached to it, so he checks in there and he doesn't see Morty. As he's walking towards the room again, we hear Morty meow and he flashes his light towards the door. He sees a shadow under the door. He opens the door. Morty walks in. We can't explain it. We felt him moving around in the room. We heard him meowing in the room. I should also say that Morty is very vocal when he doesn't like something. As the shelter where we adopted him, they actually told us that he was returned twice because he meowed too much. We have realized that Morty likes being around people. As long as he knows there's someone with him, he barely meows except for a few here and there. We had put Morty in the laundry room once when we were trying to vacuum and he nonstop meowed the entire time. If we had left him out there for the night, he would have meowed nonstop to come back in. That didn't happen. My cat literally teleported. Yeah, Morty just wants to get swifty. Shit on the floor. Alright, guys. That concludes the stories for this year's Halloween stream. A stream meme. Guys, we should make stream memes. Oh yeah, I'd love to see Robin's actual drawings. That would be interesting, like on a piece of paper or different types of mediums. That would be really good. He probably is a god with that as well. Mr. U Dreams, you need to put more stories on your podcast. We need more stories over there. Yeah, so the podcast is pretty much for this year into next year going to be bi-weekly, so it'll be every other week, just because it's kind of tough to keep up with sometimes, unless there's like a sponsor that I'll be working with or something like that. But yeah. Kitey with the 2 buckaroo says, thanks for a fun Halloween. Absolutely. Happy Halloween, guys. I'm going to read this outro real quick, and we will say that funny thing that we said so much earlier. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r.let's.read.official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. Actually, shit, I know. The veil is thin, but my booty is thick. That's what it was. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, the veil is thin, but my booty is thick. Lol. Lol, 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 lol. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out tonight and hanging out on the All Hallows Eve this year. I hope you had a good one. I hope if you are doing anything Halloween related, please be very, very safe. Don't drink yourself into oblivion. Don't take candy out of a bowl full of razor blades, all that good stuff. Pretty straightforward, you know the deal. But if you're bored and you want to keep hanging out, head over to the Discord, where we have a great community of people who are always more than happy to chit-chat and discuss all sorts of ideas in a really pause environment. Super pause. And yeah, it's a great time. Also, if you guys have any costumes that you've dressed up this year, I would love to see them in the selfies channel on the Discord, because that would be hilarious. I've posted some of mine in there already. So thank you guys for your generosity tonight with your donations. Seriously, it seriously helps so much, and it's very, very kind. This video will be first out on Patreon when the audio is edited, and then up on YouTube tomorrow, which actually today, now that it's a little after midnight, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I love you guys. Stay thick. You know how I be, what it do, all that good stuff. I love you, and I'll see you again soon.